Episode 206. I guess we just keep going with this number scheme and eventually we'll make it to a higher number. But 206, how long have you been listening for? Would you let us know? If it's 206, I'd like to know. If it's 200 plus, I'd like to know how many in general. So let us know. Ben's here. Evan's here. Josh is here. We're waiting on Nick, potentially. He's had a flight. I was joking right before we came on. It said he's probably returning his microphone cable. Or his microphone. I don't know. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
So, as you introduced the show, and it was the music, and all of a sudden I felt like you were doing some kind of like crazy DJ mix-up. And it took me 3 seconds to realize that I had YouTube Live over here, which is on delay, in our live broadcast. And then I thought you were like reverbing and looping. And I was like, wow, like Matt is really getting into this. So sorry, everybody else, you didn't get to hear it. But like if you play our show with like a 3 second lag, it was pretty epic.
Yeah. And then
Big
Germ,
confused.
fun fact. If you ever see Big Germ, ask him to beatbox for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's legit.
That's the thing.
Really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Ben, that's pretty good. We should all give our best beatbox. But...
Ben probably has, with his musical background, he's got some beatbox in him.
Oh, please.
Save that audio.
That's a social reel right there, baby. Just
How they like touch, they go, no, not that good. I could just go.
No, I think it's impressive when they can get like the dual like tracks going. Like they're beatboxing, but somehow they're keeping 2 tracks live.
Boom, boom, boom. They're doing like this.
And today on beatboxing with 101.
I like it. Sometimes we gotta have these topics. By the way, like I think I know we're off track and we have some really good disc golf to talk about. Like to be clear, of course we're doing that, but sometimes you just gotta riff a bit. And I noticed like you know how we talked about running like a couple weeks ago. Like somebody commented, they're like, "Oh, I love the side track like ultra running discussions," and I'm like,
right.
Every once in a while, we need like a little like rabbit trail on some topics. Maybe we could actually even make it a thing. Like this week with Ben, we get to talk about. Well, Ben has nothing besides disc golf going, right?
Well, dude, that's why I created my podcast. So I could go off on these tangents without being yelled at. So
wait,
no,
I'm not yelling.
I'm just kidding.
What tangents are you talking about?
That is one of the reasons.
Isn't it still disc golf related? Like what's?
What?
Are we sorry? Just threw you
yeah. Funzy. Still disc golf related, but it's more like
just easier to go off the rails.
We could talk about beef jerky for like 10 minutes and then bring it back to disc golf.
We did that in seasons past. We talked about beef jerky. All right. Disc Golf 978 sells beef jerky. I was just at a tournament.
It's very good.
Yeah, I was just at a tournament yesterday and they set up their whole, it's like a pro shop. And I don't just mean they pop out a few tables. There are tables set out. I want to say there's like 6 of them at least, but they also have the trailer with the awning that pops out, 3 large flat screen TVs that shows scores. Live disc golf could be playing. It could also be relevant to the tournament you're in. You can watch live scoring as you're walking in of cards that are still out there. They let you pay with your credit that you just got with the tournament, but they also let you pay with all tournament credits you've ever racked up or player pack credits. If you see, they had like jars of pickles there. Like you can just buy like a sweet like homemade jar of pickles with your credit. Like you can get discs, they have a lot of stuff there, guys. So my point with that is awesome. Really cool what they're doing there. But someone walked up and said, "Hey, do you have any jerky?" They sold them jerky. They had a large variety and they have everything you need. I said, "Do you have a pencil?" Because Hunter doesn't have a smartphone. And he's out playing tournament. He has to keep track with the paper. Unfortunately, right, Evan? The live scoring is getting really good, but he had to keep track with paper. And I said, I don't even have a pencil anymore. They had a pencil. So, I mean, they got all your needs covered. And apparel. Ben, I'm throwing you out there. They said Ben just reached out to us and said he needs more apparel.
Oh, sick.
You doing something special
I literally
or what?
did. I'm vending at the MVP Open this weekend for the disc golf expos, plural, which is cool. Now that I have 2. So I just needed some last minute apparel for me to wear personally, and I reached out to them, and you know, and I'm gonna use my players pack or funny money that I have saved up, and that's what I think is so cool. Even if I didn't have the expos, you could literally like just start your own. Here's the thing. Here's a strategy for all you entrepreneurs out there. You play as many Disc Golf 978 tournaments as you can, and you start a disc golf clothing brand. Then you write off your tournament entry fees to the tournament, Disc Golf 978. Then you win back that funny money, and then you pay for it. Since it's technically business, it's technically a business expense. You're promoting your product and stuff like that. And then you pay the funny money to actually buy the product, and you're just printing free money. There you go. There's a strat.
Free money. We are now demonetized on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I wish it was that easy,
just
but
getting apparel that said like Gannon's #1 caddy. I thought for sure that's what your show
was.
Well, ooh, I think we might have to have a fight on this show about who that is. Although only one of the caddies on this show has caddied to a victory.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true, and I probably caddied his worst tournament of the year, so we don't have much to argue about. But
it's all good. Gannon literally was talking to a player. He's like, "Yeah, my real caddy's at the Masters major. That's why I can't be here." I was like, "Bro,
real caddy.
Like, am I not here?" He was just joking. Yeah, he said it's actually the Paul Macbeth. So I was just like, before the first round,
player,
I was like, because now I'm remembering. I'm like, bro, like I'm literally standing next to you. He's like, oh, but I know. But it was just, we had a good laugh. Because he literally said, my real caddy.
That's good. Oh, no, when I did it, I just felt like a fill-in, honestly. And I don't know how you feel about it, but it was just a great time to have that front row seat to how excellent they can play disc golf. There you go. We're going to talk about Gannon Buhr like we usually do. We're going to talk about a few other players. I don't know if Alden's going to join or others. I think Silas possibly. There's people coming to town. We're here in Leicester. We're located here locally. But I will say as
Gannon
we close
said
out
closer
this,
to 8.
I will say as we close out this intro portion, Disc Golf 978, if you use the code We Love 978, you get a percentage off already rock bottom prices. They'll take care of you, free shipping on over $25. Really incredible. We love everything that they do there. So, okay, moving into playoffs talk. We just had the first playoff event of 2024 at called the Green Mountain Championship up in Vermont at Smuggler's Notch. You saw Fox run. You saw Brewster. Before we get into the talk on it, if you were to play one of those courses, if you could only play one, Ben, on any given day, what are you playing?
Brewster all the way.
Josh?
Probably the same, but I think I would enjoy the beauty of Fox Run. And since I'm not going to play well either place, I'm probably going Fox Run.
I was just going to say, Ben, are you choosing that based off of how you think you would perform, or just based off of like that's the course you enjoy the more?
Yeah, I think I'm choosing it.
Oh, he just went mute. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah,
he can't even hear us now. That's so funny. He went mute and he can't even hear us. So, Josh, give us your answer. Is it because
is Ben's lips still moving? If his lips are still moving, I'm gonna try to ad lib for him.
So Josh, because you play better there, or because you just enjoy it more?
Yeah, so interesting enough, right, Matt? I've TD'd at least 2 events up there, and so just really familiar with the course. And I think I'm talking the beauty and aesthetics of Fox Run is why I'm choosing it. I don't have a long arm, so I'm probably going to regret it because I think it's not a long course for the tour, but it's a very long course for me. I probably play better at Brewster Ridge, but it's just beautiful out there in the rolling fields with the early fall foliage up in the mountains there. Both are awesome. I'm choosing Fox Run.
Yeah. And just like quick comment on your reasoning of Fox Run. I actually think if you're playing there at our level, Josh, like we're not going to go play the Elite Series event that happened there. I'm not bringing you down to my level either, but at least grouping us in the non-Elite Series level. Playing Fox Run, it's like almost like you don't want that distance. You want to play smarter and cleaner and easier. Like when I play there with my friends, like that was like I was trying to throw as big as possible, and just I was getting destroyed. Obviously, that course was beating me to bones. I don't know the right analogy.
Beat me to the bones. I like it. I would choose. Yeah. I would choose Brewster. I think every time. I think it's more fun to hit lines that way. That being said, they're both fantastic courses. And Ben, maybe that's what you were saying. We were over here.
That's laughing. What I was gonna say. I would pick it because I enjoy. It would be better for me to practice over and over the lines because, I mean, it's Fox Run just don't go B. Brewster, it's like don't hit trees, and I enjoy playing the don't hit trees disc golf.
That's the mindset that you got to flip. It shouldn't be about not hitting trees. It should be about hitting your line. But anyways. All right.
If only, dude, Gannon, can I just say, Gannon, he's just playing disc golf on easy mode. I mean, it's just like he throws exact. It's we'll get into it later, but it's just like talk about hitting your lines.
Well,
go into it.
Yeah, go ahead. Because say what you want to say because I have a thought.
What I was gonna say, obviously spending time with Gannon this whole weekend and being his caddy, it's like he just like wakes up, rolls out of bed, does some stretches, goes to the course, putts a little, and then is throwing just absolute darts as soon as he steps on the tee pad. No nerves, just the same old Gannon, just like having fun out there. It's just like he doesn't show it. But it's like he doesn't feel like pressure. It's just like us going to play Maple Hill Reds with the casual buddies. That's how it feels like he's kind of playing because he's just that good. It's like every single line that he's trying to hit pretty much, he hits it pretty perfectly. And that was like the biggest thing I saw. And it was just so smooth. It was just like, yep. That's about it. That's what I was trying to do, and that's what I did. So it was really, really cool to see just how better he is than all of us.
The average player.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, but you know what? And you experienced this when you caddied. I did last year. You find yourself knowing their game a little bit better, and you can actually make recommendations based off of what they would do and not you. Like it's a totally different thing. You're like, yeah, just throw it 450 foot hyzer over that water there, and you're like, would never attempt that. So, anyways, cool, Ben. Yeah, we might hear more about it later too. I want to hear some of the stats though, and Evan's here to bring that for us. What do you got?
Yeah. I mean, first stat is Gannon Buhr on these championship level courses is way better than me on Maple Hill Reds because no way am I shooting 16 down as he did in round 2. Oh my goodness, how to think about it. That was incredible to see. And as we clearly stated, Gannon Buhr wins this event. His first time winning the Green Mountain Championship, but his 6th major or Elite Series win of the year. Hold on. That's his 7th of the year. I think it's 6th Disc Golf Pro Tour. I need to check this.
That's right.
Okay, I have a right 7. Okay,
7 on the year, 6 Pro Tour.
I was doing major. Pro Tour and Major and Elite Series, and had it messed up. But thanks. 7 now on the year. His first time winning the Green Mountain Championship. He's taking a solidified first place in the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings, going into MVP Open, the last event to get points before the Tour Championship. Again, USDGC, although it is a major and the weight of that event will be huge. It will not have any weight on points for the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings. But Gannon Buhr wins this. Kristen Tatar wins an FPO. Both the number 1 players in the world by really any ranking you use. This is the 3rd time they've won the same event this year, which I found interesting. They both won Waco, then European Open, and now GMC. Gannon Buhr also equals Isaac Robinson's score from Pro Worlds here last year. Gannon Buhr going, I had it, now I don't. 46 down through 4 rounds. Isaac Robinson doing that through 5 rounds, which is really incredible. And then Gannon Buhr on just Fox Run alone, which two rounds this year compared to 3 rounds at Worlds last year. Gannon Buhr shot 28 down on just Fox Run this year. Eagle McMahon shot 32 down last year, which was the best, even beating Isaac Robinson, the world champion. Gannon Buhr went 29 down last year at Fox Run. So with a whole extra round, he only shot 1 stroke better on Fox Run. That just, shows you how incredible and how dialed he was this year at GMC. He only missed 2 C1 putts the whole weekend. And round 2, which was a 16 down round, it was rated 1096, which is unreal. He missed 2 C1 putts that round. And one on 17 was definitely makeable, Ben. There was one other one. That was the one for Eagle. I forget which hole it was for.
12.
But it was like a deep C1 putt, right?
Yeah, it was like circle's edge. But yeah, that was the one. That was the bummer. So since I was there, I can give a little caddy insight. So he was 7 through 7, obviously. 8, we're talking, and he was like, should I go for it? He was kind of just unsure, and I was like, dude, you're 7 through 7. I mean, if just like lay it up, and if you're still perfect through then you can go for 12 for the eagle. So he laid it up, and then he went perfect, and then 12 happened, and I was like, all right, yeah, like go for the eagle. And he almost executed. He did execute it, other than the putt. So that was the moment where it was just like, oh, like dang it! But it was close.
Certainly. And yeah, 2 C1 putts missed in that round. Doesn't miss a single C1 putt for the rest of the tournament. And that was his best round of the weekend, but that's where he missed all of his C1 putts. Interesting note there. And then the reason why I was fumbling over how many wins he has this year is this is Gannon's 6th Disc Golf Pro Tour win of the year, which matches Paul Macbeth's record in MPO for most Disc Golf Pro Tour wins in a year at 6. Gannon Buhr now has 2 more shots for a Disc Golf Pro Tour win. MVP Open this weekend, and then the Tour Championship will also count towards that. This little stat does not include majors. So USDGC, although Gannon could win that and solidify a full season outside the Disc Golf Pro Tour DGPT level of event. Also, Gannon has been unreal at shooting 1075 or above. Let me pull it up real quick because I didn't have these in the notes. I just wrote down 1075. That's his 18th 1075 round. Well, he shot multiple this weekend. The final round was his 18th of the year, shooting 1075 rated or better. Do you guys know, if you didn't see the post, do you know who has the next most and how many?
Silence.
No guesses?
No.
Okay. I mean, by the way I'm teeing it up, you can guess that it's a pretty large margin just because it's that insane. Anthony Barella with 7 is the next closest. So 18 by Gannon Buhr. 18 1075 rated or better rounds. 7 to Anthony Barella is next closest. Then Isaac Robinson and Richard Wysocki are at 5. Evan Smith, interesting enough, is at 5th best with 4. So everyone else is lower than 4, and Gannon Buhr has 18. So that's absolutely unreal, and I'm still processing that on just like how incredible he has been at such a high level. Mm-hmm. Just a 1075 rated round is so good. You don't generally when you win an Elite Series event, you're averaging in the 1050s or maybe 1060s. So getting above 1075 is going to push you above what you need to win at an Elite Series or major level. And he's doing that like way more than anyone else. And it's showing with his wins, of course, too, having 7 on the year. And then Kristen Tatar wins. We're focusing on Gannon Buhr, but this win was incredible. Silva Saarinen up by a number of strokes going into the final handful of holes. Kristen Tatar is just kind of working her way back, getting to hole 18, 2-stroke lead for Silva Saarinen. I think Kristen went first and nailed it right in the fairway in hole 18. Obviously downhill, kind of bends a little bit to the right, and then OB on both sides. And we've seen all throughout the years. I mean, Chris Dickerson comes to mind about how this hole with a lead has come back to bite him, and we see dramatic swings on this final hole. And this is exactly what we got right here. Silva Saarinen goes OB left, so gets to take it from where she went out. But then Kristen Tatar matches her, picks up matches her total, picks up those 2 strokes on that hole to then force a playoff. And then they both stay inbounds off the drive. But Silva, unfortunately, on her 3rd shot going for the birdie outside the circle, hits the basket, rolls out of bounds, and Kristen Tatar is able just to easily get that win after a one-hole playoff. So that makes it her 6th major and Elite Series win of the year and her first in the USA since April, which is kind of wild. But remember, she took some time off and then won over in Europe as well. This ties the number of major and Elite Series wins for Tatar with 2022, believe it or not. This year, to some, might feel like a down year for her because she won 9 last year, swept the majors. So she's certainly not matching that level of last season, but is matching based on wins 2022. So let's focus on Kristen Tatar just here first, because I know we'll have a lot more thoughts on Gannon Buhr, especially with Ben caddying for Gannon. I always mix you up with Gannon, Ben, for whatever reason. But Kristen Tatar, Josh, let's go to you first.
I was kind of looking forward to the debate we have about Kristen's performance, and did she chase this player down, or did the player kind of regress to the mean? So like, I'm kind of like being like, I wonder what the show's varied cast will think about that. Like, Silva was playing an incredible tournament, and in the last 5 holes, Kristen goes 3 under and Silva goes 3 over. And you just didn't see it playing out that way. Because 6 strokes with 5 and even 2 strokes on the last hole, given Fox run, infamous in my opinion, hole 18. I mean, infamous, maybe famous, whatever perspective you want to take, but definitely trade strokes, because that first drive in many ways is not the hardest drive, but I think it is hard, with the danger of never coming in OB on the right side, right? If you throw it straight off the tree OB, you're in a world of hurt. And so then you played a little more conservative, and skipping out left. That's what we saw happened. So you asked in general, like, with feedback or thoughts on Kristen. I think she is put herself in the position where when the pressure was on, there's only one other player who went 3 down in the last few holes. It was Holland Hanley, who finished in 4th place. And I asked this question in the chat, and I don't know if I'm settled in this. I'm probably supposed to have an opinion on the show. But is it literally just sometimes players have bad holes? Or does she feel the pressure from Kristen? And where I'm kind of struggling to have a real solid opinion yet is, if we compare this to other players of past years. By the way, my screen froze, so I hope my audio is good. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's doing a little bit of the catch-up audio, like where it talks fast.
Like, I'm speaking fast a little bit. All right, if it happens again, shoot me a message and I'll see what I can do. But in past years, if somebody like Paul McBeth chased somebody down like that, we would absolutely have said they felt the pressure of Paul McBeth breathing down their neck. And I think that's where I'm sitting with Kristen. I don't think we see that kind of power performance yet that we saw for Paul for a couple of years. It's weird with Kristen because she's kind of had some off rounds this year. But last week, Evan, you asked us to think about Kristen. I encourage everybody to not overreact, because if you actually look at her winning, like this year, she's probably winning as much as she did last year. I bet. I don't know if you actually go and look at the numbers. I forget how many times she won. But
the win rate?
Yeah, maybe win rate probably would be a great stat to look at, especially if she took a few events off. But regardless, I guess what I'm saying is I think I'm leaning towards the fact that Kristen is just so steady. She has an aura about her. Players know and expect. She's set the precedent in the last couple of years, especially last year, that I think they feel the pressure. And there's more to it than that, right? There's sometimes bad luck and bad execution, but I think Silva has to know Kristen's the one who's breathing down my neck. And I'm not saying Silva's literally thinking about Kristen as she's throwing. I don't think that. I just think you start feeling the pressure of, I could win this event, but I can't make any mistakes. And when you start feeling that, because Kristen's there, that's where it becomes harder to execute. And we've seen that pattern in both MPO and FPO, which is why I think that's probably what's happening. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, and on win rate specifically, right now she has 6 wins from 13 events at FPO, major and Elite Series events. So that's 46%. If she wins MVP Open,
Yeah, I'm going to give her large credit here to a comeback victory. It was a comeback victory, and we've talked about this with the another event that she won just previously, and we said, was it a comeback? Is it not? And it technically is. I think her doing it when she needed to do it is where that whole discussion of clutch comes up. And so she was clutch in this tournament for sure. I think to Josh's point on Silva, I think just from what we know about her from the public perspective, without getting to know her, off the course, she comes off as a little bit, and again, this is just the perception of as a viewer. I'm not saying this is who she is, but she comes off a little more timid. She comes off a little bit shy, reserved. I think they even mentioned that in the broadcast, and it's hard to tell what's happening in those moments with her because she's holding it all in. You did see a little bit of emotion come out at the end, but I think I have this feeling things were kind of racing in her. She just wasn't showing it, and going into those last holes, knowing Kristen was there. I was with the Disc Golf 978 tournament crew at the event, and they had the live broadcast on, and we watched Silva coming down to potentially make that putt, and we were all debating what should happen there. I said, if you're a competitor, you have to try to end it now if you're Silva. You have to. You cannot say, I'd rather my chances against Kristen on a playoff. I'd rather, if I have the chance to win it, I'm going to do it now. It was epic and awesome to watch Silva go for it. So if you want to say ice in their veins, I feel like it was a great bid. A lot of chains fell out. I think at that point, I don't know that she was shook, but Kristen doesn't have much to prove except to herself at this point. And maybe she feels like she has to prove something to the world. She's mentioned that things have been off for her a little bit. She doesn't know if things were going to go well again. And it was kind of interesting to hear her mention that pre-tournament. But Kristen doesn't have anything to prove to anybody else. I think she wanted to do this for herself, absolutely, first and foremost. And to have this opportunity, I don't think she has the nerves going into hole 18 playoff. We could ask her, I guess, but I don't think she does have the nerves. Almost in the same way that if someone like Gannon, who's won so many times this year, goes into a playoff. Ben, you said it yourself. He doesn't come in nervous at all to these events. He does not have, what he has to prove now is what he's deciding that he wants to prove. He says, I want to prove that I am the best, not, hey, that I'm a good disc golfer. I know I'm a good disc golfer. So now it's the icing on the cake. And I think that's where they're both at. And I think so, again, congratulations to Kristen. I don't think this was boring at all. She hasn't been winning every single one. I think this was exciting, and to see potentially Silva take it down made it that much more exciting. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and you can't isolate it to one hole, but Kristen's execution on hole 18 was impressive. I mean, the drive's perfect, or maybe actually not quite perfect, but then she has to throw the forehand to carve around the tree and still get the forward distance, and does it, right? I mean, those are the things that you're like, you can't boil a tournament down to one hole, but like the last hole often is the one, right? And it's like, here she is. She out executed Silva. And so if I do boil it down to one hole, you're like, yeah, she literally said, here, I'll take that win. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Josh, that was exactly my point. I mean, I think the type of player you are mattered a lot on hole 18 as well, because Kristen was just so easily able to do that one angle, leave it out over the OB, but no, it was going to come back and land safe in, and just, throw maybe a bigger driver and just have it crash into the ground well safe and with amazing execution. Like she had, 80 feet, 100 feet on either side, I think, to be safe, like dead center. But then where Kristen, maybe more than anyone else in the entire division, like maybe you can make an argument for one or two players, but to have that spot to throw the forehand upshot, but still like a long upshot to get there, but within range, to then park it within 4 feet with a forehand, you can't go long on that hole because then you hit an OB and then there's a slope all around. So you got to land it with the right angle. Like Kristen's maybe it to do that one singular throw. And then you add in everything else. And, it feels like this moment was just, it was so perfectly executed by Kristen Setar, but also like it played right into the style of game that she has. And so I thought that was incredible. And I also want to throw out just a thought for the nerve point that you made, Matt, is the Disc Golf Network had when they had a shot of Kristen and Silva making their way up to the tee of hole 18. But since it was a playoff, they probably wanted to get them moving quickly for both the viewership, but also for everyone on the course. They had a golf cart and brought them both up, and both Kristen and Silva are sitting right next to each other in a golf cart. And like, maybe I was reading into it, but the camera on them, it felt like two different emotions between the two players. And they're both great at handling their emotions and looking in the moment. Like they are both great at that. But like, I feel like you could still sense it, like who felt like they were in control and who was like, I got to hang on. And maybe I'm assuming things there. But I think that shot was really powerful. And it kind of leaned into what we ultimately saw happen on that first playoff hole. Yeah. Any other thoughts about Kristen before moving again?
I want to just re-emphasize this was a comeback victory for her. And the fact that she did that could be why Silva started tailing off, if you want to call it that way. So like, you can't say Silva gave it up in the sense that Kristen didn't have to earn it. It could all be tied together. This is at least one stamp that we can say, remember this event. I know we've brought up others in the past, but she is able to do it. So congrats to her again on that victory.
I wanted to at least just give the chance to dive in a little bit more about Gannon and Buhr. I mean, we talked about him at the start, but there's so much more to unpack. I mean, just how Ben, you said it earlier, just about how easy he makes the game look, but I feel like, everyone everywhere, or not everyone, but people everywhere feel like they're having this comment of, it's less fun to watch Gannon because he's so dominant. But I think one thing that they pick out that I think is true is when he throws, he makes it look like it's so easy and that like anyone can pick up a disc and immediately be excellent.
But
and
we
you see
know
other
that's
players,
not true.
We know it's not true. Of course it isn't, because even the best players in the world weren't close to catching him this weekend.
Ricky
he ultimately
there was a handful,
he ultimately won by 7 strokes. And of course, Ricky, he was going for that fun eagle bid. Like, I'll give him credit there. Even if he gets it, let's say, even if he gets the birdie, let's say, that's still a 5-stroke victory against the best players in the world at this event. So like, 5 strokes is not, insurmountable, but it's a very big win, I'd say still. But anyways, I'm rambling on, and I want to hear, Ben, you saw every single shot this weekend. Just like, how easy did it make it look? Do you think there's truth to that statement?
Yeah, no, 100%. That, and maybe I didn't communicate that properly when I was first saying it. That was a big part of what I was trying to say. It's literally, it just flies out of his hand. There's no tension. There's no real effort. It's just like a little pop out, reach back, and it goes, and it just hovers, and it just hovers exactly where he wants to go. It's like he just shows up to the tee pad, already knows exactly what he needs to do, what he wants to do, and then he just executes it. It's like not a surprise. It's more of a surprise for him to hit a tree to him than not. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I want to add in that the putting, I think, is driving is the most important numbers wise, but like putting is still incredibly important. And I think hole 15 in the final round, it's one of the Woods holes, kind of plays to a forehand. Gannon, Ben, I don't know if you saw how close that was to being an ace, skip ace. Like that was like
Well,
inches.
I did the classic Gannon Buhr check DGN after something happened, so I started to adopt that, and I did. I checked it out. And I saw it literally almost went in and it rolled, and it was just very unlucky to put it bluntly.
It was like a 27 footer or something. I don't know the exact distance, but with like kind of a tree in a way, but like open airspace to the basket. And you see that disc land there. And like to any amateur, that's like, a tough putt to make. But to any like just average pro, you're still like, there is some doubt there. Like they're all very good putters, but there is some doubts, except for like a notable few who just, it feels automatic from there. Like Isaac Robinson at Worlds last year, you see that happen and you're like, hey, he's making that. Like there's no question in my mind. I'm not doubting that putt one bit. And Gannon, he's at that stage where you see that landing spot and you're just like, that putt's going in, like on to the next. And so I don't know if anyone has anything more to point out on that level of putting that Gannon's showing.
Nothing specific. Say, like Ben was saying, and you, Evan, just making it look so easy, but it's impressive. It blows me away, but that's like what all great performers do, whatever they're performing at. Obviously we're talking sports, but anywhere else, it's like when they're in their prime and everything's happening, that's literally what makes it look easy, right? Like that's the thing, is there's probably other people who have some pure raw talent, but that it's all clicking where you almost don't have to think about it. And probably all of us have had some microcosm of that experience, whether it be literally for one hole or something, but like we're just for a little bit, things just feel natural. And that's when it just starts to look impressive. And if you can figure out how to harness that, we hear people talk about like the mindset, the mental game, the good thoughts kind of manifesting. Like I think that's what they're talking about. And obviously Gannon's figuring that out. And that's what makes top performers so scary, right? Is they figure that part out. And then like the physical part, I mean, it's incredibly impressive, but it's like a lot of people can do the physical, but how to just tie it together every throw, to Ben's point, it becomes so easy that it ends up like self-fulfilling. Right?
Yeah,
it's like, it's just easy. I want to throw that. I know how to throw it, so why wouldn't I throw it?
And Daniel just put a stat in. He was 39 for 41 from C1X. You know, the two putts he missed in the circle was the eagle to keep it back to perfect, and then on 17 to keep it to shoot potentially 17 down, whatever second round. So that in itself is just crazy, because that was like a 20-footer maybe that he missed. So he hit every other putt in every other round other than his 16 down round. He only missed 2, which is
he's a robot. So someone in the chat said, Gannon is too much of a disc golf robot. Boring to watch. And I know already Daniel from Texas asked earlier, curious what Matt's thoughts are. Is it boring to watch Gannon win? Thinking back on conversations of Kristen Tatar in the past. We don't need to get deep into this, but my immediate thoughts are, watching somebody perform at the highest level is never boring. Ever. Like, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. It is, and like Ben, first row view for you. Again, I had it last year. It's incredible. When you start looking at competition, that's where you can have this conversation about boring or not. This is why, Nick brought up, Matt, do you think Tom Brady was boring? Listen, I think watching someone perform at a high level, again, is never boring. But if it's constantly blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout, eventually you're like, this is boring to watch, in the sense of competition, not the excellence of the player. So you have to kind of break those two things down, in my opinion. And so if repeatedly someone keeps winning without that really tight competition, it is more boring than if it was not that way. That's all I would say about that. Any other thoughts on it from anybody else? Because I brought it, or the chat brought it up, but I wanted to put it out there. Any other thoughts on that?
I feel like we're right at the tipping point of Gannon Buhr's like season legacy. Mm-hmm. Like if season ends right now, or if he finishes outside the top 20 for the next few events, like this season wasn't a fantastic season, but then where does it line up with all time? And I mean, if Gannon wins MVP Open, USDGC and Tour Championship, which is a huge what if, then the conversations are 100% there about, is it the best season or ever? But I said that weird, but I think people understood the point.
I'm glad you brought that up.
If he wins 2 out of 3, it's a lesser maybe, but it's still a maybe. It's still a discussion. 1 out of 3, like, maybe less so again. So there is at some point where it's the tipping point of like, this is a legitimate, like, we need to have this discussion no matter what. And that's what's exciting here is if he's tied going to the final hole, it's not like, Gannon Buhr wins again. It's like, oh my goodness, like Gannon Buhr might be setting history and I'm watching it type of deal.
Yeah, it's like watching a no-hitter. You're not like, oh, geez, this game is boring in the 9th inning. Nobody ever gets a hit. Now you're flipping the script and you're like, oh, geez, he only has 3 more outs. Like now you're rooting for nobody to get a hit. It's funny how that turns.
That's a perfect analogy.
Absolutely fantastic point, Evan, Josh adding on there. That is the third part that I missed. The competition of the tournament round. You have the players' excellent performance, but then you have the alternate storylines, which is, you're right. That is what's really starting to take the lead in what the conversation should be about. Less so about the boring competition. Let's change our focus onto the story of what is potentially happening with that. So that was great. Yeah. Great points.
I maybe we're moving on, but I also think it's like there's different classes of people we're talking about here. There's people who are like really into the sport, probably most of our listeners, right? Who understand the whole narrative we were just talking about. So like we can put it in the right context and appreciate that. If you kind of have more casual viewers, I think that's where it's interesting because they don't see the broader narrative and they're like, every weekend I turn it on and Gannon Buhr's winning. It's like, last year or whatever, every weekend you could turn on F1 racing and you're like, Max Verstappen is 4 laps ahead of everybody every single week. And you're like, if you don't know the context, that's the most boring thing ever. So just interesting. I'm sure there are different perspectives out there.
Great points on that, everybody. I think fantastic. Thanks, chat, for bringing it up. Sometimes you bring a take like that, we got to talk about it. There was one other in here that said, I'd be interested in what the conversation would be if Kristen had lost. I don't know if they mean in the playoff or just in general at the event. It's hard. We're a speculative show in a lot of ways. That's what we do. We talk sports. I think sometimes it's hard to retrospectively say if it was different, what would it be like? Because it's not different. Like we're looking back and we see what it is. If we said, what could it be at the next event? That's something. But like, what do you think, Evan?
Well, I think this one, it is pretty like clear cut to see what the what if was, because it would have been Silva's first Elite Series win in the U.S. She's won multiple over in Europe, which is not to take away from that accomplishment at all. But I feel like it would just cement where she is in the division so much more. Like she has arrived. People know that. People know her name, know she's a contender. But now she's trying to take that next step into being like a winner, just like Holland Handley took that step this year, just like Missy Gannon has done in years past, and have joined all these other winners. Which again, she has won, and not that she can't win, but it's, officially putting your stamp on there and making no doubters know that you are in that group.
The strength of field, Evan, as far as, and I should have did a shout out to times past the field of strength, but the strength of field, I'm sure, I feel like it should go without saying, this is the highest performing field we've ever had in disc golf, right? I mean, that's just, goes without saying. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, in this season as a whole, like that's, yeah, like, I mean, that's certainly a discussion. You can, it's hard to put a quantifiable number on that, but certainly based on people's feelings, it's getting stronger each year, especially like FPO at a higher rate. We feel like if you're talking about GMC specifically, usually it falls behind Worlds or other.
What about just bigger picture? So I know PDGA, they use ratings here or there, whatever you feel about them, but it's a measurement tool. I feel like the average to win must be a higher rating than ever, because more players are shooting higher ratings, because it just seems like the field has gotten deeper. Like I've said, feels like the top 20 are almost in contention at every event now. So
yeah, we could figure out something to quantify there, and not too crazy, but just we can look at just the event rating for those who want. I mean, to start the year, we were I think it was 7 in a row. 7,000 rated event rating winners in a row to start the season. And that's never been seen before. Since then, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more with, this hasn't updated since GMC, which was also a 1,000 rated winner. So 6 more 1,000 rated winners. And when you look at the other ones, it's like, there's been one below 980 this year, and that was Copenhagen at 972. Every single other one's at 980 or above, and most, about half 90s, half 990s. And when I scroll back to like 2018, let's see what this is. 2018 had one 1,000 rated winner, which was the Pro Tour Championship, and special format. Still has ratings, but it can be less rounds or smaller fields to get that. There was, I'm just eyeballing this here. There was one 990 event rating, and there is, two 990s and like 4 or 5 in the 980s, and much of the season below that. So, just based on event rating, if we wanted to use that metric, like it's clear that you need, or the winners are shooting better than they have ever before. So if you're trying to surpass who the winner is, then yes, you need to do more than you ever have before.
Yeah. And I guess, so my point with that is just simply that we're watching another level of disc golf, and to say that it's boring would be too far. We got to look at the other storyline, and I'm grateful that you guys both brought that up. I think that's maybe it's taken me a little while to get here, but I think that's what was happening last year with Kristen that I kept overlooking, and I don't know why, but we kept overlooking the bigger picture, because I kept trying to be like, yeah, but that event just seems boring to me. So that, long story short, kind of coming full circle here this year, watching Gannon do it. People ask, were you bored by it? Paul used to do it. Ricky used to do it. And I'll say Paul and Ricky used to go back and forth a lot. The year that Paul did it, I don't think it felt like we had never seen anything like that before. By this time, when we see Ricky do it or Gannon do it, we're like, we've seen this before. It's just a new player now. But to your point, Evan, is this possibly going to be a bigger year than anybody's ever had? He didn't win Worlds, so that's the tough part. Had he won Worlds, I think it's over. Like, it's like, this could be the best ever.
I think he knew that. I think he feels like that's the one that got away. When that tournament started, I think they literally had, like, how they walk and interview him on like hole 1? I think maybe it was Worlds, unless I'm forgetting, but he was kind of like, this is where I need to like kind of cement, like, this is where I can really say like who I am this year. And then he didn't win it, and he's blowing everything else away. But I do think he's got to feel that. That's because if he wins that, there's no question. He's still talking post-round interview, I'm really trying to get player of the year, right? Like, and it's like, okay, like, we get it. I mean, you pretty much got it. I know that can be a debate, but like, it's just, too easy.
I saw a comment on social media that I think is correct. Statman, you can fact check me. But it said Gannon shot the same total under par score, -46, as Isaac did when he became the World Championship in 2023. Same courses. I know the weather could have been different, but same exact courses in one less round.
Yeah, not to throw you under the bus, Ben, but I did share that stat as we were starting off the stat recap.
Sorry, so that was early on, but I was just saying, I just rarely remember that, which is like, because when you were talking about Worlds, the one that got away, and he was saying like, bro, like, if Worlds was just here this year, I would have been a world champion. But obviously that's not how it works.
Not how it works.
No, hey, and I mean, conditions add a lot to that. If you remember last year, I forget if it was I think it was round 1 that barely happened for the feature card, and they had to start the next morning. It was pouring at some parts, like not just like downpouring, like more than you've ever seen in your life type of rain. And then like Fox Run, like when a lot of courses on tour, if it's windy, it can be a great challenge, and like people will still relatively shred it, but like it's a great challenge. If the conditions are calm, like it feels like almost every course we see.
It was beautiful.
If it's calm and it's like kind of an OB type course, like good night, like the players are going to shred it to like oblivion, which is what happened. So I think it is hard to compare year to year because of that. The courses didn't change much at all since Worlds last year, but purely conditions. I think it's
yeah,
almost
exactly. Because I will say this, it was absolutely. There's maybe last round there's a little bit more wind, but the first 3 rounds it was beautiful. The first 2 days were 80 degrees, and round 2 when everyone seemed to be shooting hot, it was no wind at all, not even a little bit, maybe a little bit. But like it
not
was
even
like
a little bit. Well, maybe a little.
but I mean, like nature is nature. Like maybe there's like a slight, but there was just like nothing that was affecting this really.
Okay. Final thoughts, because we're jumping into the next segment.
Okay, well, I don't know what the next segment is. I was going to talk more about GMC, but take us where you want.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and look at our picks for GMC to see how we unfold. You can say what you want to say with your picks. Pop, drop, lock. This segment presented by Hooligan Discs. Shout out to the winner this week. I still have to send an email out to them. I haven't notified them yet, but if that's you, check out Pop, Drop, Lock. If that's you, we'll be contacting you shortly. Hooligan will send you over something special internationally as well. We have a lot of international players here, and we appreciate it. Again, shout out to our guy Shrek for building this out and for adding the new feature, letting you know how many times you've picked the player for your lock. You can only do 5. We're going to talk about rules for next year. But for tonight, let's go ahead and get into how this unfolded here. We all made our picks, and this is how it unfolded for point-wise, and you can let us know if something stands out to you about why your points are what they are. We're going to start at the bottom here, and it is none other than Evan Kearns.
Oh, my goodness.
22 is
Bro,
pretty good.
change the drop rule next year. You're not doing it next year.
I didn't look at anything throughout the weekend. I knew what my picks were, and didn't really know how well I was doing, but I intentionally was like, I'm going to leave it as a surprise for the show. Didn't think I was going to be last, so I should have checked in and gotten that downer moment ahead of me.
Where did what led to 22 points? I'm sure it was one of my
picks.
Madison Walker did well.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you because I've got it all here. For Evan, it was basically Matt, your Paul Kranz pick.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know about that one. So yes, he played phenomenal.
That's what it was.
Yep, and Madison Walker. So that's what hurt you because Paul Kranz minus 29, which is stealing the thunder for where Matt got points.
Yeah. I think next up is Josh. I think.
No. Yeah.
Nick.
Come on, that's not in order then. But yeah, that's fine.
Nick, let's take yours down. Let's go to Nick. He's not even here. Here we go. 37 points for Nick.
Nick's struggling.
Fun fact for Nick. He shot a shot. He's scored back-to-back weeks exactly the same score, 37. That is really hard to do, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, just totally. Kona.
Yeah, he had good picks in Braden side and Kona, and then from there just kind of fell flat.
Popped.
Nothing crazy. However, one of the things I wanted to bring up when you said we're moving to the next segment is what the heck happened to AB. So that was one of his picks, and then AB just really fell off. And by the way, I was going to also say Simon and Calvin as well. So rough events for them. Really rough, actually.
I picked AB as well to lock, and that was a problem. All right, Josh. Now I think you're next. 57 points. So what did that for you?
Great MPO picks. I picked Hamas to pop at 22, and I picked Calvin to drop and nailed that. And then I had Isaac and Owen to win and just kind of meandered after that. So happy about the Hamas pop and Calvin drop picks.
Yeah. All right. Moving over to me next. 75, not 42. Hold on. Is everybody else's points correct to this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my on-screen points aren't correct, and I don't know why, but 75 points is what I scored. And Paul Kranz popping. He was getting live coverage this week. I mean, he was tied for second place more than halfway through the 3rd round. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh, come on, Paul. I picked you to pop off. You're doing it. Good to him. And then I picked Luke Taylor to drop, and he also did by at least 20-something here. So both of them did great. I picked Madison Walker just to cancel out Ben, whatever he's getting, and I didn't do the same with Luke Humphreys. We're about to get to Ben. I had Luke Humphreys as a good drop pick, but I said Ben's just going to get it. I need someone else. But you know what? Lesson learned. If it's the best drop pick, you have to keep it. Ben, you got it. that was where most of your points out of 89 points came from, was like 50 something from Luke Humphreys. So good job there.
Yeah.
Oh, and a Kristen Tatar win. I don't know if you were watching, but that wasn't locked up at all, even through.
I know. But that was my first Kristen Tatar win in Pop Drop Lock. I've picked her to win, and she has not won. And this is my first time she has won, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. You've picked Kristen to win 4 times. So,
well, as the new feature Shrek put up for us says, I can no longer. Well, we're gonna reel right now. I'm gonna go ahead and show you.
And by the way, Ben, it's your second time you've won with Kristen. She won the European Open.
Oh, bet. Okay, cool. I didn't know.
So I just put up on screen. We're gonna get into it now. Our picks for MVP Open. Just jumping right into it. I was just gonna say I can't pick Kristen anymore because this is it for me. This is the 5th MVP Open, and what a time to do it. I just know that she's there. She's performing. It looks like she's got back over this little weird slump that she had, and I think it just makes sense. We don't have many events left. I don't know. I don't feel like she's going to win U.S. Throw Pink. Sorry. See, I want to call it the major, but Throw Pink. I don't think she's going to win that, and I'm not sure if that even is that in our schedule. I don't think it is.
I do not think so.
No.
Okay, so anyways, I don't really have a place to pick her, and I don't know how we're going to do the championship yet, but I'm picking her to lock. I'm picking Simon to lock. Simon's a hometown hero here. He plays it often enough. You watch all his vlogs. It's a hard course, but he's very familiar with it. So I think it just makes sense to lock him. I can't pick others. I can't pick Calvin. I can't pick Gannon. I'm not picking AB, unfortunately. I dabbled with Aaron Gossage, but I'm landing on Simon as my most likely. Luke Humphreys drop, Ben. I can't let you run away with Luke Humphreys again. Cat Merch to drop as well. I just don't think she can play great. I don't think this is her course to do that on. And all the women are playing great. It's hard to pick. Paige Pierce to pop. Josh, how did that work for you? Did you get any points with Paige the last one?
It was just like mediocre.
Like a point or 2 or 9?
Yeah. I have to look. She gave me 1 point.
1 point. Well, she popped. Paige is known and always says that Maple Hill is her favorite course on tour. I don't know if that's changed. I'm hoping a little bit of that good feelings translates into good scoring. She's my pop player for FPO. And then Raven Newsom. That might be a weird dark horse pick, but for some reason he always knock on wood.
Yeah, he's played well.
He plays well here, like multiple years. And he's been playing decent this season on top of it. He's 50. He's ranked like 50th in our average listing here. I think he's going to place better than 50th. Come on, Raven. All right. We skipped Nick for now. We'll go back to him at the end, but Ben, you're up for your picks here. Oh, he's flopped.
Yes.
You got crayons now.
Oh, wait. I didn't, my lock's supposed to be Gannon, Buhr. I guess I didn't change that, so I'll go ahead and change that after. But
no, you can't pick Gannon, Buhr. You can't pick Gannon.
Yes, I can. What do you mean?
Okay.
How many times has he picked Gannon?
It says it on Pop Drop Lock that I have 1 Gannon left. So, so I'm picking him
for D-Glow, Des Moines, Beaver State Champions Cup, and MCO.
Ooh. So is that 4?
That would be 5. All right, we got to go back to the database. We'll see. It's always possible I have something wrong.
We're not going to go through it right now. We'll have to solve this one either later in the show.
Okay, either way, Ben did pick Isaac Robinson as this screen is showing. So it worked well for him last time. I don't know why he's fighting.
Remember Ben last time? Yeah, your mistake was
I'm so confused because it said, maybe I...
Just leave your last Gannon Buhr for USDGC and let's
okay, yeah. Pick him for
I guess I don't Gannon anymore, Ben.
I guess I can't pick Gannon anymore, so I guess I have to stick with Eyes Rob. It's just what it is.
And is it even fair? Like, imagine sports betting and the caddy was betting on the player they were caddying for. Does that even sound right?
Yeah, that's exactly why I couldn't do it. But anyways, so honestly, Matt, I in a deal scenario, you pick the same exact picks of me every single time because then I'd win. So I'm kind of rooting for you to pick as much as you can of the same exact picks for me. So I thank you for picking Kristen. I thank you for picking Luke Humphreys. I was hoping for like one more, but Oh, what is happening?
What?
But yeah, just doing the typical Madison Walker dropping Ella Hansen, and I'm locking Kristen, and I'm locking Isaac Robinson apparently. So it did work last time, so I'll do it again.
All right.
Oh wait, he's not even playing. Okay, so I gotta change that. Thank you, Gannon, for letting me know.
Gannon is now caddying. Gannon's now caddying for Ben in the green room. This is excellent.
Gannon, who do I pick to win? Because I can't pick you, so just let me know.
Gannon, the
no,
guest.
It says I have one pick. It says I have Gannon one pick remaining.
Gannon, so you can say whatever you want. We just hear you in our little ears. So, all right.
I'll figure it out after.
Oh, whoa. Should we pass that along to the audience? I don't know. That was pretty fun, though. All right.
We'll figure out my pop.
Read my lips. This is what Gannon said.
Audio listeners are going to be hating this.
Okay.
All right. Let's keep this moving so we can talk about it.
Everyone's like, why are they in the green room?
This.
Here, I got to pull this up. Here we go. Getting our last picks.
I'll do it quick. Adam Hammis, again, he performed well here. Won in the past. Kyle Klein dropping, just a matter of averages. Eagle McMahon for a lock. How about that?
I debated it.
All right. And then Holly Finley plays well here. That's a kind of a bold pick. But remember, the field is trimmed. The field is much smaller. So to actually like average
it's tough
against the field. And then Ella Hansen and Holland Hanley for the lock win. So there you go.
All right. Evan. Oh, I put your points back up. Here's your picks. I debated this one too.
I went Kevin Jones and Pop. I mean, his average is low enough and he plays Maple Hill well enough that I'm feeling great. GMC, he can rebound from it. So faith there. Gannon Buhr is my lock. I mean, he might say that, he hasn't played Maple Hill well enough yet, but he's the number one player in the world, and I think he's got it down way more than anyone thinks. Holland Finley, Holland fan. I'm a fan of her. She has played Maple Hill fairly well. A lot of top tens. Finished fifth last year. That average finish, I actually don't know where it is, but I think a fifth place finish will be a nice number of points. And then Evelina Salonen, I'm locked out of a lot of fantastic FBO players, and Evelina Salonen is in that group. I don't know who to pick to win here. And with being locked out of Kristen Tatar, Holland Hanley, I have one pick for Owen Scoggins left. I just, I had a number of picks with Evelina Salonen. We only have one more event left after this, so that might not be the best strategy. But I think I do have faith in Evelina, and I think she is one of the number of players who can definitely win this event.
Great. And then Nick's, we're going to go ahead and put Nick's picks up there because I did see them come through. He's picking Paul to pop, Paul Macbeth. He's picking Ricky Wysocki to drop.
That's a numbers game.
Yeah.
That's just because Ricky's so high, you got to figure
he's trying to get some points here. Simon to lock, same as mine there. Pop, Hannah Wynn. She performed well to cash this last week. Holland Hanley to drop. Again, he's playing numbers. Yeah, lock Evelina Salonen. So the chat's asking, like, why are we not picking some of these other players? The game kind of forces you to pick players that are either they're fluctuating more or will. Yeah. So there you go.
I don't want to go too much on it, but Nick, Ricky Wysocki has not finished outside the top 10 at the MVP Open or any named of this event since 2010 when he finished 22nd.
Wow.
That is 12 straight years. He did miss 2017 in that, but 12 straight years finishing in the top 10. So I'm not calling a pick good or bad. I clearly have not been at the best of this game, but at least the historical numbers do show that Ricky Wysocki does play Maple Hill pretty well, although has not won it since 2015. So that's kind of the, hoping he finishes seventh and you get, 2 points. I don't know exactly what his average is. I'm not trying to hate on Nick's points. Just wanted to highlight Ricky's good doing at Maple Hill.
All right, here we go. We're going to bring into the show our guests. I'm going to say it with a plural on it, and hopefully this works out. Here we go. It's been a little while since I've hit some buttons. Oh, look, I got it right. If I just leave Gannon Buhr up and always the name, no matter who shows up, I'm always like, sorry, I'll change your name, Gannon Buhr, to somebody else. But now it's actually Gannon. I forgot to change the name, but it was still him. So Whoa. See, but Alden's there as well. And maybe I should put that in the social post underneath Gannon because he took fourth place.
Gannon Harris.
Okay. Hey, can you read it? Probably not, but your social media at underneath your name is pretty small on the phone, I'm sure. I don't know if you can read it.
Oh God,
it's so small.
What?
Zoom in.
It says,
all I do is win.
Yeah,
Oh God.
all I do is win. All right. Both of you performing excellent. Alden, you got a lot of screen time and excellent performance throwing an ace. I'm going to let Josh come in and talk a little bit here because he TD'd an event where you took it down a national title at this course. And I'm not going to lie, I totally forgot to pick you as a pot player this week. Just knowing that you performed so well on this course, we're going to go back and forth between both of you. But do you have great vibes when you come into Smuggler's Notch? And is that what helped you perform this week?
Yes, definitely. I feel like Brewster specifically is kind of similar to my home course and just Georgia golf in general. So I tend to play pretty well there. And then Fox is just one of the most fun courses we play. So I always have a fun time on that one.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. And just watching you perform so high there. Throwing an ace. You can't really see the basket on that one. It felt great out of the hand, I'm sure. What told you it was in? The crowd? Did you hear chains? What was it?
Yes, it was definitely the crowd. I think I got 2 practice rounds in, and both times I came up like circle's edge short, maybe not even in the circle. So when I stepped up to it that day, I was like, all right, just throw it like as hard as you can. Not as hard as you can, but way harder than you think. And felt like it was a pretty good line. And I think Casey said, I'll like get in. And then everyone went crazy. So
everyone went crazy. So what? Did you high five? Did you run up there? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did you run up there and collect your disc out before everyone else threw? Or did you just leave it there?
I did not. I've never been one to go too crazy over aces. I just kind of put my hands up and then gave everyone a high five.
What's that? Is like the Miss America wave? You're just like, what's up? Okay.
Kinda, yeah.
Josh, you have anything for Alden being the TD of the event he won a national title at? I mean, was it fun to watch?
No, I mean, we've talked about it before. That was 2018. You have a big win. I would argue you're the biggest win for any event that I've been tournament director for. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you perform well every time you pop up to Vermont and Massachusetts for the most part. So the Northeast, I think we've asked you this before, but you said similar to your Georgia courses. It's just something about, is New England golf, and in this case specifically talking about Smuggler's Notch and Maple Hill, does it just suit your game uniquely different than to other courses on the tour? Like, is there something about the actual courses themselves, or is it more about your comfort level? Just curious, like, why we've seen that trend for a couple of years for you.
Yeah, I'd say it's a mixture of all those. I was actually thinking on the drive here, I was thinking through just both courses, and I think I only threw a distance driver as hard as I could one time, and it's on hole 12's tee at Fox. So for the most part, I feel like it's mainly like mid ranges and fairway drivers kind of finesse through the woods, which is just like Georgia golf. So yeah, I think I just feel very at home at Northeast disc golf.
Yeah. Hey, and from our Stat Mando representative on the show, I don't know if you both already know this, but at Brewster specifically this year, all right, maybe you already know, who has the better total score at Brewster only from this past event? Gannon, Buhr, Alden, Harris.
Alden.
Yeah.
I would assume me.
Yes, minus 19. Gannon had a minus 18 on Brewster. Not that means anything in the big picture, as Gannon will probably
Fox
remind
was
you.
Similar
But
too, right?
Yeah, we played Fox the exact same too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't actually have the numbers in front of me, but we know Gannon won the event, so I assume you came out ahead.
That's funny.
Hey, go ahead.
Josh.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
You guys hang out a fair amount on tour just by the nature of traveling together. I'm curious, what do you guys do besides make videos and eat food and play disc golf? Or is that just it?
That's pretty much it. I mean, today we have this terrible habit of when we have a road trip, we just somehow find a way to make it like way longer than it needs to be. And we wanted ice cream and Subway, so we drove like an extra 12 minutes out of the way to get that before we left Vermont. And then
wait, did you get? You said ice cream, like as in creamies, like maple.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff, man.
And on the way out, we drive underneath this gondola that goes up to the top of a mountain, and we're like, "Let's just go ahead and get on that." And so we just got on it out of nowhere. Yeah, we just got on it, and we just got here.
We just got here.
Yeah, we're supposed to leave like 8 hours ago, and it's only like a 4-hour drive.
Okay, yeah, it's true. So when you say you just got here, Central Massachusetts, you're located
near
Maple.
We're actually in your basement right now.
My previous basement. That's weird. I thought about sending people there, be like, hey, come in studio, and like these people that now have my previous house would be like, why is everybody knocking on the door? Yeah, so a different location. We'll catch up later this week, I'm sure. Yeah, so you make things longer than it should be. I want to ask, we're going to talk about all different things. Alden, you make some cool videos. It has its own little style. Did you just fall into that style? Or did you see it somewhere and you said, I like that? Or have you just like a creative idea where you said, I want to make that style? Like, was it on accident or is it like purposeful? Like, where are you at with that?
I've been asked this question a handful of times, and my best answer is back when me and my brother used to play a lot of video games, I would like save just very random clips of us playing, whether it's funny or cool, and then by like the end of every month when I had enough to make like a full video, I just compile it all. So I think it's like kind of similar to that. I think that would be my best guess of how like the style came about.
And Gannon, are you acting that like Gannon persona on these videos on purpose? Like, I'm going to come off as funny as I can by being the way that I am. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like how hard are you acting? Like, is that extremely hard, or is it pretty like just who you are?
I think in the videos, it's a million times toned down of what he really is.
Okay.
So I think he has to tone it down for the videos.
Are you actually serious, Alden?
I think yes.
Yeah, it's probably accurate.
Okay. Having a few children myself, watching these videos, you are so enjoyable for them to watch. Alden, you put it together and you're in it as well. But you've created characters, and I think, do you have people come up to you often? Alden, I would assume more often with Alden, and I don't mean this negatively. You got a lot of camera time for your performance this week, but your videos are so well known. Do you have people come up to you, Gannon, and just be like, I love seeing you on the vlogs?
Oh yeah, they're always just like, they pretty much just group us all together. Like, we enjoy seeing you guys on Alden's videos, and it's just like their favorite thing. And I mean, I have so many, like I've had a decent amount of people come up, get like a picture printed out of me making a dumb face or something on the vlog, and then I have to go inside.
We had a GIF made up at one point of you pretending to be Stat Mando, looking in the camera, being funny.
Yeah.
So I would be curious. Like, I don't know that disc golf's big enough, but you know how these, like, back in the day, okay, it used to be like MTV and others. They would like find these group of guys or people touring the country, and they'd make a whole series about them. I honestly think there's enough here that someone should like pitch this deal, and like they should follow you and make an actual, like, I don't know if you want to call it reality TV, like unscripted, you guys traveling, going to get creamies, taking the gondola I mean, like a full camera crew producing something for the world to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm not downplaying what you do, Alden, but we want more. Is there a plan or ability to do more in the future?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. There's actually someone did pitch us that idea.
Okay.
I think at the beginning of, I guess, last year, but we weren't super interested just because I feel like it just wouldn't be the same. I feel like we would, because there's just constant cameras that like wouldn't bring out the same energy, I guess.
We'd have to act more normal.
Yeah.
That would be the problem.
That would be the problem. Oh, this is funny. I think they could do like a limited series, like 6-7 episodes, and just it is what it is. Anyways.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah,
I can do it. I'll just travel around with you. Different life. I probably would be. We'll leave that up to Ben now. Ben, anything you want to ask these two guys or talk about?
Hello.
Hey Ben.
How you guys
Long
doing?
time no see, man.
I
We
don't
gotta
know.
go get the Mexican food.
Oh,
this week.
Yes,
Mexican.
yes. Yes. Let me know. I'm home now, and you guys are in my hometown. I don't really have much. It's kind of like I have more to say, but I've literally hung out with you guys all weekend, so it's like
All right.
I don't know what else to ask. Like
I have
talk
some
to you about. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
All right. Well, I mean, like, Ben, we can let you come back. But first of all, Gannon, yeah, what took you so long to win in Vermont? This is your first win there. Just wondering, like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just I've always played really good in Vermont at those courses, but maybe it was one round or maybe some part of my game wasn't clicking. Like last year at Worlds, I literally couldn't make a single putt, and I only lost by 5. So I think I putted much better this week. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just had a lot of birdie looks, and my throwing's been the best it's ever been in my career. And so, especially at these kind of courses, they're definitely throwers courses. If you get on fire, it's pretty easy to string together a bunch of birdies. And so I was just making my circle's edge putts as usual. Those are probably the most important putts on tour. And when it came down to the pressure moment at the end of that 4th round, I think I stepped up pretty well and kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah, so I'm making note that you said it's pretty easy to string together birdies. So that's one way to win. Also, you mentioned Worlds. I'm curious, like, so we could talk a lot about your performance this weekend, which was truly incredible. We actually talked about it in the first part of the show. In fact, you've won so much, I don't think we're going to even dig into it that in depth with you, but I am curious, did you...
Boring. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, there's actually some debate, Gannon, if what you're doing is boring. I don't think so. I'm one of the ones who says it's not.
Hold
but
on.
anyway, not,
Yeah, okay.
no,
We're
no,
not
not
going back. Okay. We won't
no,
go
not
back.
going into that right now. But you mentioned Worlds. Like, did that actually like cross your mind during this week? I mean, I guess it did because you just mentioned it, but meaning, like if I could have just played this way, and I'm going to ask this question back to last year's Worlds, but also this year's Worlds. Like, you are on such a tear. You're talking about a thrower's course. It's easy to string together birdies. Do you have any sense of like the one that got away, even though you're player of the year? Maybe you could still make a push for the best season ever. All those things are still on the table, Gannon, but do you feel like there's the one that got away? Is that in you, or are you like over that?
Yo, it's definitely, I'm not over it. That's like, I mean, maybe it's a good thing to keep me pushing to go for these wins every week. Last year at Worlds, it was purely my putting that cost me the world championship. This year at Worlds, it was my throwing. My throwing, it was probably the worst that had been all season was at Worlds this year. And I think I played like 7 to 9 practice rounds total, and I could not fix it. I don't know what it was. And then obviously I got it fixed like 2 weekends later at D-Glow, and I've been winning since. But I don't know what it was. It was just like I picked a horrible weekend for my throwing to feel bad. And I knew I'd have to play miraculous for me to win. And at that point, it was just over. I feel like I just wasn't throwing great. I was making a decent amount of putts, but every time I would get some birdies going, I just find a random big number. And that's what happens when you're throwing like inconsistent, is you're going to take random big numbers. And I really think I would have won Worlds if my throwing was good that week, but it just was so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's got to be frustrating. Like I'm obviously using the fishing metaphor, the one that got away, but it's like, like if only. But like you said, maybe that's fuel for where you're continuing to go. I think people are really, really curious about. You've obviously got a major ahead of you, this weekend's event in the championship, so it'll be interesting. To change topics slightly, we had some debate earlier on in the show also about like whether Ben caddied for you, but we also heard that he's not your real caddy. And then there's some debate about who's going to caddy this weekend. Like we've had lots of caddy discussion. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that. Maybe not.
I mean, I think I just said like I brought up my other caddy. I'll say whatever, Matt Schlebach. Yeah. I just brought him up because he's doing USDGC as usual, and then Ben got all butthurt, man. He just started freaking out. One time.
So it was funny.
Yeah.
So I thought this idea up, but it might be too much of like a thing to game out right now. But Alden is a producer and can figure out, and we've got more characters coming in right now too. It looks like that was Silas.
Silas and Linus.
But I'm curious, Alden, what would make for a good little, whether it's a 10-second, 5-second vignette in your next vlog? I know we always do something when you're in town. Usually you come in studio. Can you think, is there's like in between, let's game it out right now. Gannon, Alden, Silas, like, is there a question I could ask that would just come up and like you respond and like flip out on me, like throw your hat at the camera? I don't know. Like, what could we do here, Alden? Like if we game this out, you know, like when you guys set up Kristen, remember Kristen in my studio? We asked her who would win in a fight. Like, is there a question I could ask her, Ben or Josh? Like,
it's got to be organic. It's got to be organic. Let's like legitimately try to think of something we can actually ask that'll offend Alden.
Oh, let's try to offend them.
Actually, like flip out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't even know about it. You just.
Why are you such a good drawer? Why are you the best doodler ever?
No. Like, I don't know who we're setting up to do this. I don't know what question it should be. Chat. What? Okay. How about this? We're going to let the chat decide.
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to choose, but like, this is like the game, whose line is it anyways? I'm going to pick from the list that pops in here. What question do I have to ask Gannon or Alden? And we'll wait for that to come in. And then I'll ask it as serious as I possibly can. And you have to answer it as seriously as you possibly can. Okay. All right. I think is that fair? Does this work?
Yeah.
I mean, is this good content, Alden, or will it be like no go?
I guess it just depends on the question.
Okay.
We'll never know.
I guess it depends on the question.
All right. Well, I'm going to wait for the chat to come in. So chat, come up with a question I have to ask.
Yo, all I know is I'll do anything for Alden's vlog. Like I will. I'll do anything.
And I want to be clear with the chat. Like, this isn't a real question. This is not like, hey, what's your favorite disc? Like, it needs to be like awkward. It needs to be offensive without being vulgar, because I won't go that
offensive.
Far. And while we wait, Ben, was that Silas in the background?
Yes.
Is he eager to get on? Does he have a microphone and a headphone?
I can right now.
Well, I don't know. I just didn't know.
While you figure that out, Gannon, last time you were on, you had been in Canada for a few hours and you were not impressed. You were like, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth when I felt like you're like, Canada kind of sucks and it's boring. And then you went and kind of torched the field, and just wondering if your sentiment on Canada is any different since we last talked to you.
I mean, I don't know, man. It was interesting. I think the fans were overall nice, but we had a couple bad things happen that just weren't amazing. And then the course was fun. But yeah, there's a couple things that week that happened that wasn't very good. But I mean, I give it like a 3.5 out of 10.
So here's the thing.
Consistent.
Before I caddied for you, Gannon, and people, Gannon knows this, but I crossed the border. I crossed the border into Canada, and I was there for like 3-4 hours before Gannon's round. And I think I brought that Canadian magic to the bag, and I feel like that's part of the reason you might have won. I ate my ketchup chips. And I was fueled and ready to go.
I mean, there's definitely a chance. I think I just used all my skill in Canada, and I think you just brought it back to me.
I brought it back to you because I went to Canada right before. So that's a cool stat. Cool stat.
I have something funny to add about Canada. Is that the entire trip, the whole time we were there, pretty much everybody who came up to us asked about the clip of him trashing Canada on the show.
Yeah, no.
It was going like viral in Canada.
Canadian viral. That's
Canadian
funny.
viral.
Dude, I had a great experience in the border of Canada. There's a taco store, and it was like had Canadian candy, and it was in this dude's house, and he took us to the back of his house and showed us some Hot Pocket commercials. Like,
kind of scary a little bit.
It was a little scary, but he was a good guy, and that's why I went to the back of his house and watched that Hot Pocket commercial. And the border, just strange things come from the border, but I'm all for it.
Sounds like the best time ever.
Dude, you would have loved it, Gannon. You would
yeah.
We're all like doing two different things at once here, trying to come up with this segment next. So where are we at now? You're in Central Massachusetts. How many practice rounds are you going to try to get in? You're doing a pro-am thing tomorrow, I think you told me. That's not considered practice, but it is at Maple Hill, right?
Yeah, I'm not even too sure about what that event is, honestly. I'm just going to show up and see what happens. But, I mean, I'll at least get one practice round. I'm not sure about the quality of the practice round, but we'll get at least one in.
Okay. At least one practice round?
Yeah. I'm curious for the new holes, though, or I know there's a couple new pin positions. I like that they are putting hole 1 for 2 of the rounds just across the pond as a par 3. I think that's really cool. I'm curious to see how that big gate or that barn opening looks, because it looked way too small on camera, so we'll see. And then, 9 has that par 5 position. That'd be pretty cool.
Bro, I'll take you through the holes. I got you.
All right.
Well, I've got a 2-part question. So you guys talked about sometimes you just make these random stops on tour, but I assume also sometimes you have long stretches on the drive, right? I think, especially considering you're not jet setting and flying around, so lots of time in the van. Again, I know you're not driving, Alden, you're driving, but so the 2-part question. With these long drives without stops, like what have you personally found is the best brand of adult diapers for the long trip? And then also, like, how do you properly dispose of them, like, after the trip is over? Some of us don't really, like, tour the country like you, and so we're curious how you're handling that.
Yeah, you can probably answer this one.
Yeah, I got it. So that's actually a really easy question. My favorite brand is just Alden's diaper brand. And so usually
Elton John's? Are you talking about Elton John's?
Yeah. Elton John's are really comfortable.
I love those.
When we're done with them, we usually just pull over to the side of the road and burn them.
All right. Not exactly environmentally friendly, but it is what it is. Yeah.
So
they're actually biodegradable.
And usually once we pull over and do that, we also throw some discs out into the wilderness.
Yeah, and then we go just like throw them out and make sure the nature gets all just corrupted by our plastic.
I figured, like, I know people who tour, they have these toilets that are biodegradable with you actually burn them. So I figured that was actually what you were referring to. But that's interesting. So thank you for elaborating.
Wow. That was insightful.
That was beautiful. People are asking, how did this get derailed? I think that was a segment for Alden's vlog. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't expecting
What are you talking about?
No, that's just a normal. What are you talking about?
No, we even got to that.
No.
Dude, because our chat is so confused. Like, what is going on?
People that just joined were very confused. Extremely.
I don't know. Seem fine to me. Hey, so this year, Discmania, this is working out for both of you?
Oh yeah.
That's good too. That's very insightful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. They've been great. I putted with my new putter this weekend. That was very exciting. I also putted with it in Canada, so I have like 3 1090s already under my new putter.
Fire.
Yeah, it feels cool to have them work with me on that, and actually have it be successful is awesome.
Awesome. Hey, so you've mentioned in post-round interviews, player of the year, you're like, player of the year is important to you. We've debated whether we think that's on wrap or whether there's technically any openings left. We've generally thrown out like kind of, could there be one of the best seasons like ever? Could actually be a debate, Gannon. I'd be curious your thoughts on, does it even feel right for you to speculate on that at all? I'm curious your just raw opinions. Like, obviously you're trying to win every event you play, but like, what's it going to take to really kind of put a cap on your season the way you want to, besides the obvious trying to win everything from here on out?
Yeah. I think for me, if I want to get into the debate of being one of the best seasons ever, I need to win at least 2 of these last 3, and one of them has to be USDGC. And then I think there's definitely a good argument for it. Obviously, it's different eras, but I don't know. People can kind of give their opinion on that, but I think where I'm at right now, I have to do a little more research, but I believe it'd probably be the best season in like the last 9-10 years, other than obviously Paul's 2015 season, which is the best season of all time. That's what I'm trying to beat. But I think even if it ended right now, I think in terms of the new era, I don't think there's a better season. So I'm pretty proud of that, but I'm obviously not going to stop. I still want to get that #1 season, but I think if I could win out, it'd be a very good debate for it. But like I said, just tough to compare.
Yeah. Well, and that's for us to kind of also like debate and compare. You mentioned even like the new era. That's obviously a debate in and of itself. Like, is the new era really a thing? And maybe it depends how you classify it, all of that. Obviously, what you can do is go out and win as many events as possible, and we get to debate it. Hey, so Alden, you're in a different kind of chase, and not to kind of do a direct comparison, but it's different. I am curious, this week with your performance, are you setting your eyes on finishing well here and trying to make the Tour Championship? I believe you're currently in 38th place. Is this something you're thinking about, and have you done the math? Is it within reach?
Yes, we've talked about it a little bit. We think top 10 gives me a chance, and top 5 would definitely put me in. So it wasn't, honestly, after Worlds, because I did very poorly at all 3 majors, so I don't even think I have a major in my points. So it wasn't really on my mind going to this week. And then I don't know at what point in the week I really thought of it, but afterwards I'm definitely thinking about it a good bit. I'm going to try to finish my best here at Maple Hill.
Yeah, well, being a playoff event, obviously everything's indexed higher, right? So yeah, you come away with 103 points, and you're chasing people above the cut who are getting like 1, 2, 20, etc. points. So you really can gain. And you said top 10 might get it done. You probably know, but you finished in 10th last year at this event. And we just talked about how Northeast Disc Golf kind of suits you well. So I think that's an interesting story for us to watch as fans, obviously for you going into the event, trying to pull it off. But, chasing Gannon Buhr down, or will Gannon have to chase you down? I guess we'll see how the event plays out this weekend.
Win. Yeah, I would take an Alden win.
I think if I can get top 5 here, I'll be in contention of the best season ever.
Definitely your best season ever. That would be awesome.
I will let you guys know. My phone's at 3%. So
3.
Be wise with what you ask. All right.
Be wise. Oh. What's your 2%. Next Lego purchase? You just won. What's your next Lego purchase?
I really want the Roman Coliseum. I think I'm going to try to find it somewhere and get it.
Okay. Anybody else? He's got 3%. Or we could just do the whole, I don't know if he's ever watched Seinfeld, but the whole like run the car till the gas runs out.
We actually have 2% now.
You don't know how far your phone can go until you run it till it shuts off.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
He's like, I have a message to send in a call to me.
What do you guys?
If it boots you off, obviously today's interview is a little bit different for everybody. I mean, the truth is, Gannon, it is not boring to have you in, but we have you on the show a lot, which we love.
It's boring. Everyone hates me.
No, we love it. And Alden, truly, congrats on an awesome weekend, and I'm excited to see how it plays here. There's a chance I'll see you out there on the course. I'll say hi if I do. Great job. Always fun talking to you all.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna let you
Thanks
go.
for having us.
Yeah, we'll catch up later.
Wait, I got a good. There's a good question. Hold on for Alden. Alden, I have
1%.
a great question from Overthrow. You had a great year last year. Do you feel like you're finally back to last year's level?
I definitely this week I definitely felt a lot like I did last year. I finally felt confidence on the green. I stopped. My main problem this year is just I've been thinking about my form when I'm throwing, just because I tweaked some during the off season and my form has just been so bad. So ever since Deglow, I've been just not thinking about my form at all and just throwing, and it's definitely seemed to work pretty well. So
So you're saying, oh sorry, go ahead.
I don't even know what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, so you're saying, was that form tweak that you did that hinder you?
Yes, big time. It's I can go in depth with it, but it's I don't know. It definitely I don't even know. It definitely hindered my consistency, I guess.
So sideways, every shot.
It's something you're not worrying about anymore. Basically, you're like, I don't care about it anymore. I'm just gonna do how I play.
Yeah, just for the remainder of the season, and then once I get in the off season, I'll try to tweak it back to where it was.
Before the form change.
Alden, important question, actually. People have heard that you like to Vaseline your fingers before you throw. Specifically when you do a power grip, you like to spread Vaseline. Can you tell people why you do that?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to the form tweak. Because it was going sideways everywhere. When I put the Vaseline on it, it seemed to go, one direction, just early release every time, but it was a little more consistent.
All right. That was very insightful, and we appreciate that. We're going to let you guys go. We'll catch up with you. Good luck at the MVP Open.
All right. Peace.
Oh, I got the wrong 3 up here. We'll fix that. It's going to be Ben, Matt, Josh, because I don't think Evan's back yet. Well, we ran Gannon's phone to the end there. Wow. People, what? What's the Vaseline?
Like people are gonna love and hate that. But here's the thing, everybody. Like, it's fun to have fun. Disc golf is fun. These are like Gannon and Buhr is like one of the best in the game, and we're having a good time. So everybody relax. Some of you love it. Some of you are like, what is wrong with these guys? And I love it.
Hey, every now and then we get a show like this. There are people who hate this. That's fair. There are people who think it's funny. I think it's fantastic that I'm guessing overthrow disc golf. They're like, really? Is that Vaseline legit? Now, are they pranking us with that question, or did they think so? But anyways, fantastic. Good time. Good time. So we've got more to talk about here. We got another 20 minutes of disc golf talk. You guys, people come in the chat and they kind of razz us for like, oh, the Gannon show. Like, you guys have them all the time. Can we get someone else besides Gannon? Like, guys, it's just disc golf. I mean, it's pretty fun. We're not ESPN. We're not, sports talk professional in that sense. We're here to have fun. All right, where are we going next? We got Silas there. Was he interested in talking? Or is there a way for him to do that?
I think he went out to eat. I think he was just too hungry and he just left.
It was too boring. He had to get dinner. We get it.
Yeah. So unfortunately.
Yeah, Matt, it depends where you're taking us. I think there's a few potential things. Then I don't know if Evan's rejoining us or not for anything. But lots of different stories in disc golf the last few weeks. I think there's a lot of content out there that will let you break down the Bud Hill Masters event and some of the drama surrounding that with J. Ray as a TD, bankruptcy, misuse and loss of funds, et cetera, et cetera. So to be honest, like maybe we could share an opinion or two. I want everybody to know we as a show did not talk about this at all. So like, I don't know, Matt or Ben, just like, do you have any raw reactions to that story now that we're like over a week into it? There's actually been a lot has unfolded, right? The story 7 days ago is different than it is today. Partially. I mean, the narrative, the history is still the same, but just it is kind of a big story, maybe not at the professional tier of our event, but in the sport of disc golf. Just, I don't know, any raw reactions, if not.
Disc golf exploded. Disc golf organically started like with tournament play where events would raise money. TDs would host many events. It was kind of like all in like a club sense. Like, hey, all this money is just used all around. I know J. Ray. I don't know him well enough to say hi. I know in the community, friends of mine who are very friendly and friends with him. Everything I've known about him does not seem to line up with the negativity that's going towards him at this point. All I can say is when I first heard it came off as shocking. It sounded, fraudulent, and maybe it is. I'm not the professional here to say, but I think in hindsight, it's good to see the disc golf community step up to bring it to a place where positivity can come from it. Unfortunately, you mix, disc golf fodder and talk, and I think it gets pointed so negatively at people. And sometimes it's, how do I put this? Being in a public place, you're open for it. But at the same time, just because someone's like, hey, I'm in a public place, like, it's tough. Like, how you talk about that individual. Saying the truth is one thing. Posting it on Reddit's another. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know how else to say that except they're like, yeah, these conversations are legit, right? And like me talking about J Ray and the way he handled the money and lost it. I mean, that's legit conversation. Absolutely. And you learn lessons and you have accountability for what you've done. Like, that's all real. I just think sometimes where we take it is just not the right place. And when I say we, I guess I mean, it's probably a vocal minority. I think the large majority are, off put by it and they don't think it should have been that way. But then there's this group that just kind of wants to drag people through the mud with pitchforks. And I've seen it before in disc golf. I don't want to say any specifics here, because then it will kind of go back to my point of what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing to talk about it, another to drag it through the mud. But there was a story in our disc golf history, not mine, but my community of disc golf, where somebody does something that is like the unforgivable sin of disc golf. And I'll make something up now, but like, let's say vandalize a basket, right? If I catch the MFer who did that, like, they're never going to play disc golf again. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just not in that place. I don't think that is the best way. And you want to see forgiveness. You want to see people change their actions. But I don't think that's up to me to control that. And I don't think that's up to, I think that's the law, definitely. The community can be hurt and they don't have to, accept it. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's a better way to treat other people the way you want to be treated. Now, there you go. I'm preaching a bit there. But so when it comes back full circle to J Ray, I would say he's willing. He said he's willing to. He's got to face the music. I don't know. It's a tough one to talk about. I think it probably happens more often than we know. I think in a disc, like, think of like whether you call them weeklies or leagues. And I know this is on a larger scale. It was 25,000, 26, whatever it was. But think of your like disc golf weekly or league. Money's coming in for the event. They take some of it. I know everyone tries to be fully transparent, but I guarantee money is moving to different things all year. Does it make it right? I guess, I don't know. That person who's doing it probably doesn't feel like it's an issue until it's an issue. And I don't think, and I don't know this, I don't think J Ray had ill intent. It was not with the purpose of scamming people. And that is a big difference when it comes to legality, as far as I understand it. It doesn't make it easier for the people who are lost out, though. It's a big mess. But if you want to follow up, I guess people have come forward to pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, right. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm sure there's a wide range of opinions, and I think that's actually okay. I would just say people, be thoughtful and respectful how you share them. I actually think there can be legitimate viewpoints spanning a pretty wide spectrum here. It's a pretty serious thing that happened, and I think there'll probably be some interesting consequences and general results, even just how the PDGA thinks about handling these types of cases. Obviously fairly substantial in size. To your point, like, even non-sanctioned stuff is happening probably all over, right? Different things happening at different levels, but this one was so big. And I think the story in the big picture, I'm not talking about all the consequences that still have to play out, but in the big picture, probably has a pretty positive ending, right? People who don't want to play are going to get refunds, and people who want to play, it's still going to be a great event with a lot of people stepping up to really help pull it off. So yeah, just thought we would address it. We don't talk about every single disc golf story on this show. And we mostly focus on the top tour professional scene, but it was a pretty big story, and some familiar names kind of spanning in and out of that. Unless Ben has anything to add, I have one other totally unrelated topic. Well, it's actually an interesting segue. It's only partially related. Ben, nothing to add on that topic?
Yeah, just an unfortunate situation, but kudos to Dynamic. I watched the Terry Miller interview. I forget.
Yeah, Tyler Searle.
Tyler, yeah. Kudos to him getting it all and making it right, and kudos to Dynamic Disc if they're behind that, and whoever that's awesome. And I think that should be it's tough to say celebrated because it's such a bad situation, but that part in itself is pretty awesome to see them still going through with it, even in shelling out that money through a tough situation. So I think they did the right thing, and I'm happy that they're still going on.
The bigger question that happens is like the PDGA. Where's the PDGA? Why aren't they dealing with this? They should be, and I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, and we'll find out if they are or if they aren't. You don't just pull pitchforks is my point. I've never been that way. I just don't think it's the right way to be. Yeah, pitchforks. It's just like.
So, speaking of Masters, also, we don't usually dive into all of this, but I think it's interesting. We had the Tim Solinsky U.S. Masters this past weekend, and we're not going through every division, every result. But by the way, like in mixed pro 40, we have Scott Conway winning. But like I'm literally selecting not random, but just names out of like a long list, so many names, but like beating out the likes of people who have been on the tour. This is why I mention it. Michael Johansson, Cale LaVisca, and then further down the list, big names who have won big events in the past, Steve Rico, etc. And then you also have another familiar name in the women, Sarah Hokum, beating out the likes of Jennifer Allen, Juliana Corver, plenty of other big names who have been on the tour. Johnny McRae winning MP 50. And again, skipping over some, but Elaine King winning in Women's Pro 55 plus. And I'm not reading every particular name, but how about the fact that we have a mixed pro 80 plus division? That's just pretty awesome and epic, which actually a familiar name, Pete May, who's played a lot and won a lot. So I did not do justice to every single division. We don't really cover that a lot on the show, but there's some familiar names who pop up still on tour, who did tour in recent years, who are now competing there, and it's just kind of fun to see that. So thought we'd mention it.
Good mention. Good mention. I have news coming in. Uh-oh. Now we're getting all messed up here. I'm getting lots of live news on Ben's picks for Gannon Buhr. So the first one I got in was, this is from Shrek, who builds this out for us. He says MVP would be Ben's 5th pick, at least the ones he submitted on the site. Now, here's an interesting thing. We only accept ones that were submitted on the site. Music City Open, D-Glow, Beaver State Fling, and Champions Cup. Josh, did you have one more than that?
I had Des Moines also.
Okay. Then, hold on to that thought. Then Dave says, I'm looking through the leaderboard manually. It looks like he picked Ricky for Texas State. I don't know if anyone has that. So that would be 5. I'm not sure why it's not coming up. And then he says, oh, never mind. That was Ricky. We're looking at Gannon.
It's like, what? What does Ricky have to do with this?
Ben did forget to submit his picks one week. Did he still make picks on the show that 1 week?
Yeah, that's why I have it in there. He picked Des Moines.
Yeah, if it was Des Moines, then yeah, I guess I probably picked Gannon Buhr.
But what's interesting is,
was
so
that
like
the week you were on the road?
Probably yeah. Yes.
But yeah, if you go look in the website, Ben has 0 results for Des Moines. He's not even listed in the leaderboard. So.
Yeah, so I can't pick Gannon Buhr to lock.
But did we award points? Did he submit manually somehow? but didn't
Yeah, I
submit
gave
it
him
on.
points.
Okay,
I
all right.
gave him-
So
I
we
gave
gave
him
you points for
I
that. So
don't
that
even
means you
know.
did pick them. So you have to change. You can't do Gannon.
All right.
We'll settle that. Now you have to
I'm
root for
looking
somebody
now.
else as you caddy. Gannon coming into the final green.
Well, obviously, I want Gannon to win. Here's the thing: if Gannon wins MVP Open with me as the caddy, it's I'll feel really good. So I'm already cool with one win, but if we get 2 wins in a row, it'll be just like that'll seal the deal for me on an awesome experience. So I wanna get another win with him, since this is probably gonna be maybe next year, but this is probably gonna be last time this year I'm gonna caddy for him. So yeah. I would never mind, sorry. I was gonna read a comment about me, but that felt too weird. But I'll just read it since I made it too awkward. Daniel says that would cement Ben as one of the caddy goats. I just thought that was funny. I am not the goat. When he was saying Schlaybox is real caddy, I obviously wasn't offended. I just thought it was funny where he said my real caddy just in passing, and I thought that was funny. That he added real to it. Enter Ben. How heavy was the bag? The bag, dude. That's another thing I was impressed with. He has like 10 discs, maybe 10, not 10, but like 12, 13 discs, like a few drivers, few mid ranges, few putters, and they do everything for him. Like that PD he has, that flippy PD is like his only kind of flippy disc, and he uses it for flippy driver, I should say, and he just uses it so well. So yeah. Whoa, pop block drop cheater. I'm not a cheater. I'm sorry, I'm reading chat. This podcast has gone a little crazy, but I'm not a cheater.
What do we actually have on our agenda left? Yeah.
I haven't picked Gannon yet, so I'm changing that. Don't worry, understable Dave Mon.
All right, we're getting down to the end of the show. Moving to MVP Open. Specifically, we already did our picks, but now all of us are local or have been significantly local. Now Josh and Evan and Nick have moved away, but like this was home as far as tournaments go for a long time. Any description? I'll throw it to Evan because it's been a little bit since you've talked on the show. Evan, describe for the people what it's like pulling up to Maple Hill, and what do they get? Because you've been to a fair amount of tournaments now. What do they get at Maple Hill that stands out? Like, what's the difference between the Maple Hill venue and others?
I think the most obvious thing is the type of viewing experience you go for. I think Maple Hill has really been the place where you stake out and you sit at a hole and you watch either the full day or, some cards, and you move to a new spot, but you really kind of stake out a spot. I mean, being a mostly woods course, when you have lead card coming through, it's hard to get a good view. And there's all the different ticket prices and where you can go and whatnot too. I'm not up to date on all that. But when there's 1,000 people following the lead card, it's hard to see the shots. Or I should say hard to see that. It's hard to see every shot because, of course, some holes you're in a perfect position, some holes you're a little bit behind the pack. So you kind of got to take it with what you get, and you get to see the action, and it's awesome. But then sometimes, it's you can find better viewing in specific areas. So 8 holes are the popular one, or maybe the most notable, I should say. You go there, you hang out with them. They're a ton of fun. They got their things going, and it's hole 8, and it's a blast. Hole 14, just nearby. Like there are bleachers now there too. You get to see shots coming from all the way up the hill, across the pond, and then the tricky landing. You hang out there. Then hole 1's got the huge bleachers. Hole 18's got the fun finishes. There's all these kind of, pockets where you can just go hang out and stake out. And I'm sure there's ones where people are like, it's only me and my 4 friends and it's perfect. No one else is at this hole. And so that's a really unique part about it too. So I think, other courses do have holes where you stake out on, but I think the number of holes that are really iconic to do that, maybe Maple Hill sticks out more than others. But I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. I'm not trying to, I don't know. There's people see the value in different ways. Yeah.
Let's do a fun little segment, and then we'll get you doing your segment, Evan, with the game you brought. But I want to put Ben on the spot. Ben, tell the listening audience something that they don't know about Maple Hill and the MVP Open tournament. They don't know. Like, unless you're there, you don't know it.
Something they don't know. As in, like, how far distances are, or like,
they
give
could
me an
be.
example.
I'm going to give you a for example.
Yes,
when you tee off on hole 2, file this away, everybody. You have an actual town road, people driving by at 35 miles an hour, probably about 15 or 20, maybe 20.
Hole 3? Hole 3.
Sorry, hole 3. Thank you. 3 tee pad. You have literal cars probably within a circle's distance from you driving by. And people don't realize that. Like, there goes a car right next to us. Is there anything else? Like, what stands out about Maple Hill that people wouldn't know unless they were there?
They have a campground, I guess. I guess this is a pretty good one.
This is a great one.
They have a campground, not a legit campground, so like you can't.
They call it boondocking. Like, there's no hookups. It's land.
Exactly. But on hole 17's tee pad, if you ever watch the Jomez footage, if they ever kind of look to the left, there's basically a campground, cleared out, maybe a few trees and stuff like that, but it's very cleared out. There's fire pits and like charcoal grills, and that's where a lot of the pros stay and just spectators stay. I think you just reach out to Steve. I don't know if spectators are allowed to stay, but normally all during the whole entire year, if you are coming up to Maple Hill and want to camp, you just hit up Steve, talk to him, and then you could just camp on site at Maple Hill. And they have a really big pond in the back that you could fish at called Southwick Pond. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Any other thoughts come to mind, Evan or Josh?
I think more hole specific, like 16, Kevin Jones slip base hole. Like, I mean, just in person, how you grasp it. I think that's like the number of times that I've played a round with someone and they walk up, which number of times is like 2 or 3, that this situation has happened, but they walk up to hole 16, you just see it click in their mind. And Maple Hill has so many of those, and, you know, as all these events are solidified on kind of this pro tour, you get a lot of these, but I think, you know, Maple Hill, very notable. 16 is one, and hole 6, another, a little bit less iconic and more like, oh my goodness, that's way harder and way tighter than I thought. Hole 7 is also in that category. So that's where I kind of go, is the moment of clicking of like, oh, this is the hole I knew about for so long, or for whatever reason. And then here it is right in front of me, and this is how it's in person.
Cool. Josh, any thoughts?
The only thing I would add is you can kind of see this on camera, so maybe people would say they know this, but watch a lot of the events on tour around hole 18, even the ones with big crowds, maybe European Open. But there's something about the final day, especially if the weather is good, when everything cinches up around that hole 18 green, the size of the crowd and the way it actually fills in literally around that entire island green, and just like it feels like an epic sporting event. I don't know the actual numbers of people, but the vibe there is just truly unique. The way they kind of let people walk into the fairway after the final card is getting into that final green, and it's just like truly like kind of incredible, right? Like 10 to 15, maybe 20 rows deep, depending where you're standing. Like, you know, shoulder to shoulder, people on the upper deck, everybody's around. A lot of events you see pros not even around for the end, but at Maple Hill quite often you're going to see almost all of them. Partly because you have the pond jump, but it's just kind of the vibe and culture I think is truly unique. This won't work for everybody, but maybe even if you're not a true sport like buff, it's kind of like in baseball, like Fenway Park is not necessarily like the most impressive stadium, but the aura and the history and the legacy actually kind of lends its impressiveness. When you walk out and you see it, you're like, there's something special about this place, even though there's buildings and stadiums that are 10 times more impressive. I think there's a kind of a sense of that. And I think that keeps the players and the fans drawn in. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to visit for that tournament, get there.
And because it's a private venue, other things that you might not know is there's ping pong tournaments on site in facilities, is how I'll put it. They also have skee ball. They have actual pool for playing, shuffleboard, or what's that called on the table? Is that shuffleboard when they do the sprinkle the sand?
Yeah.
It's like a different version of it.
It's a different version, but yeah, shuffleboard is a good comparison. I don't know what the real name
They've
is.
built out the deck larger, so the viewing area is much bigger
so
now.
Cool.
It's a pretty epic experience. And then if you showed up, you know this. The parking is just like its own event in and of itself. So if you're not there watching, parking is insane. Now every year,
so they cleared out more.
Yeah, every year they work at it.
They're at 17. They cleared out even more trees
so they'll park more, Ben.
Like
they'll park more,
yeah.
But they're still gonna run out.
They're gonna stuff more. Well, so you can park at Walmart, which isn't that close comparatively, but
8 minutes.
If they have shuttles.
That's an 8
minute.
Sure
if, so you should be good. Yeah, it's just what it is. I mean, I had to. Well, first day at GMC, I had the shuttle, and all the players had the shuttle, and I think literally all the fans had the shuttle. Now, given the shuttle lot was only like 3 to 4 minutes away, but it's just sometimes, it's tough for these venues to go from, the local plumber and electrician playing on the Pro Tour to like these players like that have been playing since they were children and making millions of dollars playing. It's tough to kind of expand that rapidly for parking and to meet the demands because, disc golf just hasn't been like this until very recently. So I appreciate MVP trying to do it every year, trying to make it bigger.
Yeah, and I actually think that's what I'll close on. MSDGC is where this all originated from. I think the whole Pro Tour, MSDGC is Marshall Street Disc Golf Championship. Steve Dodge had this idea to make an event that showcased the best players, and I'm trying to find, it's on YouTube somewhere. You can watch this. Here it is. I don't know if this is legit, but it's called Great Drives 2005. If you type in Marshall Street Disc Golf Championship in YouTube, you can see some of these iconic holes that people are throwing that look very different. You'll go, wow, that's where the basket used to be. Very different, but you can check it out. But the reason I bring this up is because MSDGC used to be so much about the side games. It was this community of people that had fun together and would go out and play disc golf. That's where the event came from. So they're still bringing back the pie eating competition. They have lots of side games. It's going to be a blast. We're going to be out there. Hopefully see a lot of you out there. Evan, you had a game lined up for us. We took a lot of the time, but if you want to give us the shorter version of it, we want to play it. We just don't want to do the 20-minute version.
Yeah, awesome. Well, the game will be very short. I wanted to quickly, 60 seconds, nerding out about the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings going into the final event of the season and just how it shakes out with the Tour Championship. So I just want to identify just the most obvious things to keep an eye on this weekend. In number one, I'm going to say is the cut line for FPO. It's at that 20th place mark. And Hannah Wynn, as of now, has it. She has 4 points above Stacy Kiefer, who is 16 points above Elisa Midling. Those three are battling for that final spot. Hannah Wynn has the advantage right now, but it could be really any one of those. And with this being a playoff event and 1.5 times the normal worth and no drops, anything can happen. So watch those three ladies and how they finish out. And then the top of the leaderboard in FPO, we got 4, Holland Hanley, Owen Scoggins, Missy Gannon, and Kristen Tatar. From first to fourth, it's just barely over 50 point spread. So anything can shake out. Kristen could get the number 1 spot going into the Tour Championship. Holland could drop to 4. Holland could finish with 1, and they all stay in the same place. Lots of things can happen. So that's most exciting. In MPO, Gannon Buhr really all but has it locked up. He just needs to finish the event, and he'll be first place. If he DNFs, cross our fingers. I'm not hoping or wishing for that, of course. But that's the only scenario where he could not finish first. And then Ricky Wysocki would need to win in that case that Gannon Buhr DNFs. Otherwise, Gannon Buhr will get 1.5 points just for finishing the event. and he will have first place locked up. Ricky Wasaki also is second place locked up. The cut line here is a little bit more set with Luke Humphreys, 27 points above Bradley Williams. I know you guys were talking about Alden Harris and what he thought he had to do to make the Tour Championship, so he's certainly in play still. But it's a lot more names who are in contention, but also a little bit more of a cushion for Luke Humphreys for getting in, and above Luke Humphreys, there's a few other names who are still within that like bubble range. So very interesting. That's what I'm going to be excited for this weekend, in addition to the great play at Maple Hill. So on to the game, unless you guys had anything to mention about the standings, but I don't think so. I'm going to continue on then. This is a little bit of like, would you rather, and then like a tap out when you're done kind of game. So it might go really quick. It might go really long. Really long as in long on the list. Still quick game overall. So the general gist of it is I'm going to name a player and we're going to compare it to Gannon Buhr. And this is going to be legacy of their career. If they all retired tomorrow, no future thinking, they might win, a couple world championships in their career. Like none of that. Literally right now, before Maple Hill even starts, we're just at this point thinking the legacies of disc golf. So let's go with just a one for an introductory of it. We have Gannon Buhr, who has 11 major and Elite Series wins. He has 2 major wins, being USDGC and European Open. And of course, you can factor in more things to this, but I'm just going to go over the wins to really highlight that. But if you want to factor in just total longevity or total podiums, total top 10s, whatever it is, and we're going to compare those two players, and you're going to say Gannon Buhr, I think he has the better career or more notable one, or I think the other player I mentioned is. Once you choose a player other than Gannon Buhr, you are tapping out and you are done with this game, and we're going to continue on until we have nobody left and we're choosing someone else. Does that make sense?
As we go, I'm sure it will make more sense for me.
Okay, awesome. Let's go. We're going to go Gannon Buhr versus Paul Ulibarri, longtime player on the Pro Tour, and actually, let me stop here too as well. This is all on the course as well. So Paul Ulibarri, a lot of things off the course, Joe Mez commentary, all that he brings to the sport. Purely going to go what is on the disc golf course, comparing their wins and notoriety on the course. So Gannon Buhr, 11 major and Elite Series wins, 2 majors, a USDGC and European Open, versus Paul Ulibarri, who has 1 Elite Series win and has not won a major. And all these stats are in MPO only. So Josh, are you picking Gannon Buhr's career or Paul Ulibarri's?
Am I just saying I'm picking which one?
Which
Gannon.
one is the better career in your mind?
Yes, Gannon Buhr's career is way better.
I mean, Jonas' commentary is a big... No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Gannon. Clearly.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to the next one. And it could end right here. Like, there is a chance for that. But we're going to see how long we can go. And that is Simon Lizotte, who has 9 Elite Series wins, but has yet to win a major in his career. Again, on the course, we're not thinking of Simon's YouTube presence and all that he brings to the sport, not his disc line with MVP, just purely on the course. 9 Elite Series wins compared to Gannon's 11 major and Elite Series wins, with 2 of those being majors.
Okay, that little extra criteria changed. I was like, whoa. I was like, it's tough if we're talking all-inclusive career, because that's a big deal. If that's the case, I don't know. I don't even know what I would choose. I'd flip a coin. They're both going to be great. But if we're just on the course only, Gannon.
Yeah, I mean the same. It's actually the majors that are pretty substantial to me.
Correct. Gannon.
And we're talking longevity too, like the future of Gannon, or like, is that what you said?
No,
it's just current.
We're
right now.
ignoring the longevity specifically. Only what has happened to current day.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Gannon.
Moving on to someone who has won majors. We got James Conrad, who has 3 major and Elite Series wins, only one of those being an Elite Series win. And he has 2 major victories, USDGC, and then, of course, the very notable Worlds win in 2021. So who has the better career? James Conrad, 3 major and Elite Series wins. Gannon Buhr, 11 major and Elite Series wins. James Conrad, 2 major wins. Gannon Buhr, 2 major wins. But James Conrad has a Worlds win compared to Gannon Buhr, whose equal would be the European Open.
Yeah.
Ben, you said Gannon?
Yeah, I'm still picking Gannon.
Matt?
I'm struggling a bit because we know what happened after Worlds. Like, if we
on the course,
I know. But I'm
it's
just
the
saying,
value of a
include
Worlds
that.
win
Yeah.
is really what you're putting here.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
like,
worth
if it was like we
8
only
extra?
knew 2 Worlds for James Conrad? I think Worlds is huge. But at the end of it, I
He's
guess
so much more Elite Series wins. I mean, it's like night and day.
Matt, you can tap out at any moment, and then we're just moving on with Josh and Ben. So like it's
career
your
to this
opinion.
point, it's knowing
It's
what I
your
know
opinion.
about James Conrad since Worlds that it's going to make me say Gannon. That's what I'm.
Okay.
What I'll say.
All right. Next one, Isaac Robinson, 4 major and Elite Series wins. He has 3 majors. That's more major wins than Gannon Buhr. He has 2 Worlds wins compared to Gannon, who has none. He has a PDJ Champions Cup win. And then again, Gannon Buhr has 11 now major and Elite Series wins. He has 2 major titles, USDGC and European Open. So 7 more major and Elite Series wins overall. But when picking out just the majors, he has 1 fewer win and no Worlds wins.
Isaac Robinson, I tap out. And I didn't realize the criteria was not forward looking because obviously I choose Gannon just because I believe in him. But it's
Wait, why are you tapping out?
Because Isaac has back-to-back Worlds. I wouldn't win again if I had back-to-back Worlds.
You're saying you tap out if you pick anyone other than Gannon Buhr.
No,
yes.
Okay.
Sorry. The first time we're playing this game, we're learning the rules.
I thought you were saying tap out if you don't want to give your opinion, like you're too scared.
No. Sorry. Once you pick the non-Gannon Buhr player, you are tapping out, and you are. It's not exact because I'm just making up. I'm just putting the names together, and it's not an exact
Gannon,
science. But it's kind of you're going
back-to-back Worlds or Gannon's career to this point.
I'd take Gannon's personally.
Yeah, if you draw the line September 23rd of this year.
If I could pick who.
Yes, that's what we're doing in this exercise.
Right, yeah, no, I get it. That's my point. Is if you draw the line right now, give me Isaac's career.
All right. We got 2 tap outs, and we are just down to Ben Kenny. All right, this one, we got Calvin Heimberg, who has 11 major and Elite Series wins, which is tied with Gannon Buhr, but has no major wins. And Matt and Josh, you guys might be like, hey, I want Gannon in this one, but you guys tapped out. No opinion here. We're just going to Ben.
Yeah, Gannon. Again.
Okay. Next up is Eagle McMahon, who has 13 major and Elite Series wins, 2 more than Gannon, and he has 2 major wins, the same amount as Gannon, but his major wins are Konopiste and European Open.
I think the reason I keep saying Gannon is because he's done it in like the past 2 years, everything we're talking about, like literally. So I'd say Gannon. All
right. Next one up, Nate Doss, who has 12 major and Elite Series wins. And let me finish. You can still choose Gannon.
Ben forgot disc golf history.
But he has 4 major wins, twice as many as Gannon Buhr, and 3 of those are world championships, with the other being USDGC. So more major and Elite Series wins, more majors,
3-time world
3
champion.
world champions.
Like, do you want to be announced like
Gannon
that?
Buhr's not even a world champion.
That's actually such an incredible career, but it's so tough to say because, like, again, it's like the whole debate about Ken Climo and Bill Russell, is he the GOAT?
But if Gannon's career is done today,
if Gannon, Gannon's career ends now, he's never a world champion.
Or would you rather a 3-time world title?
Oh, okay. If Gannon's career
is done today,
yeah, done.
Okay.
You got to look at the numbers now.
Oh, okay. I think I don't think I was doing that. Yeah, I don't think I was doing that. So if my career was done today, obviously I'd take Doss's all day.
All right. Okay, and we all tapped out, and that's the game. Our first time with it.
Okay,
I actually like that. We need some practice understanding how you did it.
I understand it now. I'm thinking like Gannon. Doss. He had a storied career, 3 worlds. I'd still take Gannon over
James Conrad.
Isaac.
Oh, maybe I wouldn't then. I don't know.
See?
Okay, I think I just misunderstood.
Hey, that's all right. I think it's a great discussion.
I think I was thinking about the future.
And there's 3 people who are getting this question asked, and there might be, hundreds or thousands of people who are thinking a different answer. So
We'll get better at this, but that was fun.
Yeah.
These are the kind of games that work well. I think I was on that track originally, like Ben was, and then I figured it out, and then Ben didn't.
That's all right. Hey, people listening, we're probably going through the same questions, and by you guys going through them, it probably answered it. And again, we'll work on it. And also, just like with this game, didn't even touch, the players who have 20 plus major and elite series wins. Didn't even get to them. I don't even know if we're going to name them, but I kind of want to name them. But we're not going to name
Gannon or Climo, and they said Ben answers Gannon.
Gannon. Gannon. Well, it's so, like I said, it's just tough to compare. I mean, it's not tough. Obviously, Climo, 12 World Championship, but like it's just like it is tough to compare. I mean,
Gannon
I feel like everyone would agree with that.
And if you're comparing,
if you're going to go full in on the, I only care about this day and age of disc golf, like sure, that can be your argument as well. But there's an argument there. I'm not saying it's the right argument, just there is a way down on that, making that argument. So Ben, if that was you, I would have respected it and let you have this platform.
I wouldn't make the argument.
I
wouldn't make that argument. I think there's a lot more nuances to it. It's just like it is a different era. It's just an older era, but obviously he's still beat up on people and you're still a world champ. So I think without context, it's just like Ken Climo all the way, all day. He'd be the best. He's the GOAT, best player ever. But in my opinion, Paul Macbeth is the GOAT. So with context, because of, just the competition and kind of people back in Ken's day, there's probably a few people full-time doing it where it was just kind of like they were doing it on the side, where and Paul, it was more people were playing to be on tour and stay on tour. So and naturally the competition just got better. I mean, we're seeing it now. I mean, I think Simon said in his Instagram post today that he's never seen this level of like performance like ever from a field. So it's getting scary.
It is.
Very cool. Hey, I got one thing to say on this little ticker going through our latest subscriber. We have Ryan Fitzpatrick and
the QB.
Journeyman
Let's
QB
go.
in the NFL,
Fitzmagic.
played for maybe half the teams in the whole league. Big beard, went to Harvard. Very notable player. So
Never know.
You never know. It could be him. Could be
You see him
someone
kinda
else who
get
just loves disc
Do
golf.
you see him kind of get trolled by one of his co-hosts on a show this past weekend, I think?
I didn't. What was it?
Yeah, so I don't remember the show and all that, but basically she was like, hey, it's great to be on the panel here with a couple like epic like legacy, blah, 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 and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay,
he just
I
kinda
did
looks
see
at
that.
the
That was Nikki
camera,
Glazier, who's a
Okay,
comedian.
thank you. That's right.
and
So I'm sure that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
She
Troll.
was
that's
on
her
the
thing.
Tom
She's a-
Brady roast. I
Yeah,
think, as
she's
well.
a roaster. That's her
So-
whole.
Right,
That's
but
her
it's
whole
just like
shtick.
epic on a panel to do that, and he just kind of looks at the camera like he knows better.
But
Yeah.
dude, she doesn't know Fitzmagic. Mans would just come out like their starting quarterback would be hurt, and then he'd come in and lead the team to a playoff and just like absolute work wonders. I mean, he honestly, if it was me, I'd take Fitzmagic's career over Patrick Mahomes personally.
I'm tapping out.
But see, this is Ben though. But this
See,
is
that's why.
Ben.
But Ben's just
Okay,
drawing the
NFL
line now.
QBs on this game.
Ben's drawing the line now. He
Ben's
understands
going
the
all the way.
rules.
It's magic. Beats Patrick Mahomes. Next up is Brady, and that's where you draw the line.
Brady,
on
I
the
would
final
never.
one.
Brady's
Oh,
the
my
GOAT. Brady's the GOAT of.
Yeah. Hey, Drake
Football
may
for
call Aaron Rodgers the GOAT, so I think we might need a new future QB.
That is
That was not fun.
preposterous.
All right.
Yeah, I
well,
don't
we're
know
gonna
what's going
find
on
out what happens this week at Maple Hill, and we're gonna have a good time. We'll try to catch up with everybody after. I'm sure we're gonna have some type of what we used to call Monday Hangover League. We used to play a league the next day after MVP Open, and it's like, wow, what a week of disc golf, and now we're out trying to play. Great show. Nick never made it. I know he was traveling. He had a flight from actually up here in Massachusetts and back down to Florida.
Wait, why didn't he stay? That's a scam.
He got a
I
job.
think he has a job.
Got to keep that course open, I think,
Ah.
or whatever. Yeah,
Ben,
things going on down there. of course.
Jobs are a real thing. I know you and Simon nowadays does, but I don't think he's ever worked like that 9 to 5 in his life. If I remember, he's told me that. It's a
No,
thing,
I-
Ben.
I know. I work. I have a job. It's just luckily it's online, and I mean the tackle store. I grinded freaking 6 to 6 at like most weekdays for like 4 years. Now my dad I've proven to my dad that this disc golf thing can be something and that I love it. So he's allowing me to kind of pursue it. So shout out you, Dad. Thank you.
Shout out, Dad. No, and I want to be clear. This is like when people ask what my wife does for work, and I say, tread very carefully. If I say she doesn't work, it comes off as offensive sometimes. Ben, you work extremely hard. You hustle extremely hard. Yes. Simon works extremely hard. I wasn't implying that you guys don't work. I'm talking the 9 to 5 type thing. My wife works extremely hard as well.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm extremely grateful for everyone who's supporting me in the chat, for giving me this opportunity and supporting me through this podcast, through, the expos and whatever I got going on. Without you, I wouldn't be able to be out here living basically my dream, honestly. And I really appreciate it. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming to the expos. That's like my main money getter, my full-time income. So I appreciate all your support. I'm extremely grateful. I can't even say that enough. I know I'm a goofball, but I'm actually being genuine here. Thank you so much. My hopes and dreams are alive thanks to you guys and your support. And I couldn't do it without you. And it's crazy that this is my job. This is part of my job. I am here talking about disc golf to a camera in my room with Linus Carlson and Silas Schultz staying in my house, and it's my job. Thank you. And for all of you sitting there thinking, man, I really wish I could go after my hopes and dreams one day. I do it because you never know what might happen if you don't try. Take the leap of faith. Thank you.
And with that, I'm entering the MVP Open this weekend. I'm going to take it down.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Ben, pick yourself as your lock. Did we figure out your new lock?
Yeah, I'm picking Ezra, Isaac's brother.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
The chat was fire tonight. We love each of you in there. That last little bit, people were getting chills, tearing up. God bless America. There's a lot of things coming out of that chat. Appreciate it.
I love my country. I love my God. God bless America. I love my friends.
Someone said bring back taking some phone calls. They said random is enjoyable. I mean, we had some where we were like, we have to do call screening from now on. We're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, maybe we should be random here and there. We're going to talk in the off season about what we want to do for the show. Appreciate each of you. Nick's not here to say what he says. Ben, word of advice, you already gave it. I think we're just going to ride that.
That was awesome. And also, if anyone, so I gave a reference to a TV show just then. If anyone knows what it is, comment it below. I would like to see. I butchered the quote very severely, but let me know. I would like to see if anyone understood that reference.
Until next time. See you out there. Peace out.